How Tutankhamun really died. What if the boy king of Egypt didn't fall in battle or curse, but instead met his end through a simple twist of fate that still puzzles us today? Imagine walking through a quiet museum gallery, pausing before the golden death mask of Tutankhamun, and feeling the weight of centuries pressing down in utter silence. It's a powerful moment, one that makes us wonder, how does a young ruler, celebrated in life and death, slip away from history without a single clear answer? Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a question in life that seemed simple, yet refused any clear explanation? Maybe a sudden change in weather during a long outdoor trip, or a relationship that shifted without warning. Share your own story and where you're listening from in the comments below. And if calm explorations of history bring you peace, please like this video and subscribe so we can continue our gentle journey together. Tutankhamun became pharaoh as a child, ruling around 1332 BCE, barely old enough to understand his power. By the time he was 19, he was dead. His tomb burst into public view in 1922, untouched for more than 3,000 years. Inside, Howard Carter's team found a young face serene beneath gold, but the real mystery lay in what had caused his early end. At first, people spoke of a chariot accident, or a fever, or even murder. Each idea held dramatic appeal. Stories of palace intrigue, secret plots, or fatal falls. Think about preparing for an important exam. You study hard, line up your notes, and imagine success. Then on test day, you find a question you never expected. Your heart pounds, and you scribble answers in a rush, knowing you may never fully understand that one curveball. Historians feel the same way when piecing together Tutankhamun's last days. Each clue is a test question from a past they cannot retake. In the 1960s, X-rays of Tutankhamun's mummy revealed a skull fracture and damage to the chest, suggesting a violent blow. Yet later, CT scans showed that the fractured skull likely belonged to a modern mishap during excavation. The young pharaoh's brain had been removed in ancient mummification, and later studies couldn't link the fracture to his death. It was as if someone erased their own handwriting on a vital note, leaving only smudges behind. Then scientists turned to his feet and legs. CT images revealed a crushed left thigh bone and signs of malaria in his blood. Imagine slipping on a wet floor at home, just a moment of imbalance, and fracturing your leg. Now add a high fever and weakness. For a child pharaoh already recovering from malarial fever, a broken thigh could have been the final blow. Without modern medicine, infection would spread. Simple fractures can turn deadly when your body is fighting to stay alive. This paradox between royal splendor and sudden fragility touches bigger truths about life. We often think of strength as grand achievements, but sometimes strength lies in vulnerability. Admitting we need help, accepting care, and finding courage in recovery. Tutankhamun's story reminds us that even kings were once children at the mercy of chance. Beyond the bones, DNA tests found markers for a family line weakened by intermarriage. Previous pharaohs married their sisters to keep power within the bloodline. That practice may have passed on genetic disorders, making Tutankhamun more susceptible to disease and bone problems. In our own families, we see echoes of that. Inherited traits, good or bad, shaping our health and choices. Understanding our roots helps us navigate our futures with more care. Modern research even uses artificial intelligence to analyze the patterns of bone damage and genetic data, comparing Tutankhamun's remains with thousands of other mummies. AI can spot subtle clues, tiny inconsistencies in skull shape or bone density, but it still needs human judgment to interpret what those clues mean. It's a reminder that technology and empathy must work hand in hand. Machines process the details, while we bring the compassion to respect each human life. As you drift into calm tonight, picture Tutankhamun's final moments. A bright day in ancient Thebes, a young ruler tapping his foot from pain, the palace physicians tending to his fever. Perhaps he looked out over the Nile thinking of laughter in the palace gardens or the songs of his people. Then imagine him slipping away not in battle or betrayal, but in the hushed glow of torchlight, carried from the world he barely knew. If Tutankhamun's gentle downfall stirred your heart, please share your reflections below. Have you ever faced a moment when a small accident changed everything? Let us know, and let us connect through our shared vulnerabilities. And if you'd like more soft journeys into history's hidden stories, subscribe and click the bell. Thank you for joining me. May your dreams be peaceful, and may tomorrow bring healing, wonder, and gentle surprises. Mystery of Pyramid Construction. What if the greatest monuments on Earth weren't built by giants or aliens, but by ordinary people whose clever minds and steadfast determination have been lost in time? Picture standing at the base of the Great Pyramid of Giza, its perfect limestone blocks towering above you, each one weighing as much as a small car. You reach out and touch the cool, smooth surface, feeling the faint grooves where workers once dragged massive stones into place. It's a moment that humbles you, reminding you how little we still know about those who shaped our world. Before we explore this gentle enigma, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tackled a task that felt far beyond your strength or skill? Maybe moving heavy furniture on a hot day or learning a new craft with only your hands to guide you. Share your story and where you're watching from in the comments below. If calm journeys into human achievement help you rest, please like this video and subscribe so we can keep uncovering these quiet wonders together. Traditional explanations tell us that tens of thousands of laborers, farmers off-season, pulled and lifted stones using wooden sledges, ramps of packed earth, and sheer muscle. Think about pushing a car up a driveway when the engine fails. Every inch of progress takes careful teamwork and countless small pushes. For the pyramid, each block had to be quarried, shaped, transported, and precisely set all under the desert sun. Yet archaeological evidence suggests those workers were well-fed and housed in nearby villages, treated with respect rather than forced labor. It's a picture of a society that revered its leaders and believed in a shared purpose strong enough to unite thousands in a single monumental effort. Imagine preparing for an important group project. Each person brings a skill. One writes, another designs, a third edits. Together, you create something you could never do alone. That same spirit of collaboration fueled pyramid building. Evidence of communal bakeries, medical care for injured workers, and careful planning of resource delivery hint at an organized workforce motivated by more than just orders. They worked for their community, their faith, and their future. Yet the ramps remain a mystery. Some scholars suggest straight ramps leading up one face of the pyramid. Others propose spiraling ramps wrapping around the structure hidden from view. A few even argue for internal ramps built inside the pyramid itself, allowing workers to haul stones upward without disrupting the smooth exterior. It's like choosing the best route on a mountain hike. A steep path may be direct but exhausting, while a winding switchback takes longer but is gentler on tired legs. Each theory holds pieces of the puzzle, but no single answer feels complete. On a normal day, you might navigate a new route by trial and error, trying one path, realizing it's too steep, then backtracking and finding an easier way. The pyramid builders likely did the same, adjusting their methods as the structure grew higher. But unlike our temporary detours, their choices were carved forever into history. This mystery touches bigger themes of belief and innovation. The pyramids were tombs, gateways for pharaohs to join the sun, God's journey across the sky. Each block placed was an act of faith, a prayer in stone. In our own lives, we build intangible monuments every day. Acts of kindness, moments of creativity, small decisions that shape our character. Those quiet efforts, though unseen by the world, form the foundation of who we become. Modern engineers and artificial intelligence now model pyramid construction using computer simulations to test ramp designs and manpower estimates. AI can crunch numbers of block weights, friction coefficients, and optimal paths, suggesting how many workers would be needed for each stage. Yet no algorithm can capture the human spirit that powered those methods. The laughter shared at the end of a hard day, the whispered prayers before lifting a final block, the pride of seeing the pyramid's peak against a pink dawn. Consider how you face challenges today. Learning a new skill, healing from a setback, or building a relationship. You gather tools, lean on friends, and adapt your approach as you go. The pyramid builders did the same, but on a scale that defies imagination. Their triumph reminds us that when people come together with respect, care, and shared vision, they can accomplish the remarkable. As you settle into calm tonight, picture yourself beside the ancient stones. Feel the breeze off the desert sands. Hear the quiet echo of distant hammers shaping rock, and imagine those builders pausing to admire their progress. Let their perseverance guide your own dreams, reminding you that every small step toward a goal counts, no matter how heavy the stone. If this gentle exploration of pyramid construction inspired you, please share your thoughts below. Have you ever tackled a project that felt monumental? And if you'd like more soothing journeys through history's greatest mysteries, subscribe and ring the bell. Thank you for joining me. May your dreams be built with care, and may you wake tomorrow, ready to place your own stones with purpose. Pyramids, star alignments decoded. What if the Great Pyramid of Giza was less a lonely tomb and more a giant map pointing directly to the stars? Imagine standing on the desert sand at dawn, the three pyramids of Giza aligned so precisely that they mirror the three stars of Orion's belt, guiding the pharaoh's spirit to join the eternal heavens. That quiet thought binds us to ancient stargazers, inviting us to look upward and wonder, did our ancestors write their beliefs in stone under the same sky we see tonight? Before we follow this cosmic trail, I'd love to know. Have you ever gazed at the night sky and felt a sudden connection to something vast and timeless? Maybe you spotted a familiar constellation while camping, or watched meteor streaks on a clear evening. Share your memory and where you're listening from in the comments below. If calm explorations of history and space help you unwind, please like this video and subscribe so we can keep discovering together. Over 4,000 years ago, the builders of Giza placed each pyramid's corners and passages with astonishing precision. Modern measurements show that the three Great Pyramids correspond almost exactly to the three stars in Orion's belt, Al-Nitak, Al-Nilam, and Mintaka, tilted slightly to match the star's orientation around 2500 BCE. On an ordinary day, we might align our clocks to the correct hour or adjust a map app for north and south. The Egyptians did something similar, but on a grander scale. They aligned massive monuments to bright points of light hundreds of light years away. Imagine preparing for an important presentation, studying both your notes and the clock to start on time. Every detail matters. The ancient stonemasons studied the rising and setting of Orion's stars, perhaps using simple sighting tools, poles, ropes, and careful observation. They marked the first appearance of the stars after sunset, then adjusted their plans so that, when completed, the pyramids would stand as a reflection of those distant suns. This alignment wasn't accidental. In Egyptian belief, Orion was associated with Osiris, the god of rebirth and the afterlife. Pharaohs were seen as living gods who, upon death, joined Osiris in the sky. By placing pyramids according to Orion's belt, they ensured the king's soul would ascend along a familiar path, from earth to stars. In our own lives, we use symbols and rituals to mark transitions, lighting a candle at a vigil or wearing a special outfit for graduation. The Egyptians built stone beacons to guide a soul's journey, a ritual of cosmic scale. Historical records and temple walls hint at this belief. Texts describe the Field of Reeds, a heavenly region where the deceased would live eternally. Priests performed nocturnal rituals, using light signals and chants to symbolize the pharaoh's rise. Then they returned home under the same sky, sharing a sense of connection between the living and the dead. It's a powerful reminder that cultures often mirror their worldviews in the spaces they create. Our modern cities arrange monuments in civic centers, showing what we value: liberty, memory, justice. The pyramids show what mattered most: the bridge between life and the stars. In everyday life, we set our alarms to wake us at dawn, aligning our days to the sun's routine. The Egyptians did the same. but they also aligned eternity itself. They knew that stars shift over centuries due to a slow wobble of Earth's axis called precession. Their builders compensated for this movement, ensuring that Orion's belt and the pyramids matched not only at their completion, but for generations after. It's like resetting your clock for daylight saving time today. Small adjustment, big impact on daily life. Modern technology, including satellite imagery and star mapping software, has confirmed these alignments with stunning accuracy. Artificial intelligence tools compare thousands of data points, pyramid coordinates, star positions, horizon angles, to reconstruct the sky of 2500 BCE. AI highlights that the southernmost pyramid corresponds to Alnitak, while the middle pyramid matches Alnilam, and so on. Yet no machine can feel the hush that falls when you stand among those blocks, lifting your eyes to the same stars that guided ancient hands. That quiet connection between past and present is something we all crave. In mental health, we talk about grounding practices: feet on earth, eyes on sky, breath in rhythm with nature. The pyramids offer an ancient version of that grounding, stone foundations aligned to stars, offering comfort that life and death are part of a cosmic dance. They remind us that our own troubles are small under a vast canopy of light. As you settle into calm tonight, picture the three pyramids under a velvet sky, their tips pointing to Orion's belt like giant watchful eyes. Feel the cool desert breeze. Smell the warm limestone, and imagine a pharaoh's soul rising along that stony staircase, guided by bright stars. Let that image soothe you, a reminder that we are part of something much larger than our daily routines. If this voyage through pyramids and stars sparked your wonder, please share your thoughts below. Have you ever felt a deep connection to the sky? And if you'd like more gentle explorations of ancient mysteries, subscribe and click the bell. Thank you for joining me. May your dreams be illuminated by starlight, and may tomorrow bring new alignments of heart and mind under a shared sky. Secrets of the Book of the Dead. Have you ever worried about being judged for your mistakes? Imagine your heart weight on a scale after you're gone, your life's actions laid bare for all eternity. In ancient Egypt, the Book of the Dead was more than a book. It was a lifeline, a guide to navigate the afterlife's hidden passages and face the final judgment. Picture opening a papyrus scroll painted with colorful spells and prayers, each word a gentle step toward peace beyond the grave. Before we begin this quiet journey, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever written a letter to yourself full of hopes and reminders of kindness you want to carry forward? Share your experience and where you're listening from in the comments below. If these calm explorations bring you comfort, please like this video and subscribe so we can continue unfolding history's soft mysteries together. The Book of the Dead isn't a single volume, but a collection of spells adapted to each person's needs. Ancient scribes painted them on papyrus sheets, tucked into tombs and sometimes even inscribed on coffins. They spoke of safe passage through dark hallways lined with gates and guardians, of friendly words to say when meeting strange beings, and of the sacred moment when the soul faced Ma'at, the goddess of truth and balance. Think about facing a tough decision today, maybe an important conversation where every word matters. You prepare, choosing each phrase to express your care and honesty. The Egyptians did the same for death. Each spell was a carefully chosen phrase, like a reassuring script for a performance that would determine the soul's fate. One famous spell describes the weighing of the heart. Anubis, the jackal-headed guide, places your heart on one side of a scale and a feather on the other. If your heart is lighter than the feather, free of deceit and cruelty, you pass into peaceful fields. If it is heavier, you're swallowed by Amit, the devourer, and your existence ends. It's a powerful image, reminding us that the weight of our choices truly matters. On a normal day, we balance our time between work, rest, and loved ones. When we reflect on our actions, we imagine a personal scale. Did I speak kindly? Did I act fairly? The Book of the Dead turns that inner reflection into an eternal ceremony. It whispers that every gentle act, every truth spoken, helps tip the scale toward light. Artists painted scenes of judgment on tomb walls, tomb owners kneeling in worship, Anubis adjusting the scale, Thoth recording the result. The colors, soft, reds, gentle greens, pale yellows, create a calm tableau, not a fearful one. It's as if the Egyptians wanted to soothe the departed soul, saying, "You are prepared. You will be loved." This historical emotion of care for the dead shows us a people who faced death with dignity and hope. Beyond judgment, the Book of the Dead offered guidance through hidden dangers, serpents that blocked the way, silent guardians who asked riddles, and dark lakes filled with crocodiles. Spells promised safe passage, comparing each danger to a familiar storm you've weathered. Imagine driving through heavy rain, focused on the headlights, and your steady grip on the wheel. That same calm, focus guided souls past each peril. The spells also included prayers for offerings, bread, water, incense, to nourish and comfort the dead. In our lives, we leave small offerings of time and attention for those we love, a shared meal, a thoughtful message, a gentle pat on the shoulder. The Egyptians extended this tradition to death itself, weaving belief, language, and ritual into a tapestry that honored both body and soul. Modern scholars use digital imaging to read faded papyri and piece together missing lines of text. Artificial intelligence helps match fragments from different tombs, reconstructing spells lost to time. Yet no matter how clear the letters become, the calm beauty of each painted scene remains what truly touches us. The quiet promise that we are not alone in our final journey. In mental health work, we talk about preparing for difficult moments, mindfulness exercises, gentle mantras, small reminders of self-worth. The Book of the Dead serves as an ancient guidebook, offering calming words for a transition we all share. It bridges belief and practice, showing us that the care we give to end-of-life preparations speaks to our deepest need for comfort and respect. As you settle into rest, imagine a flickering oil lamp casting soft shadows on a papyrus scroll. Feel the warmth of ancient paint under your fingertips and hear the hush of a ritual chant. Picture Anubis's guiding hand, the scale tipping gently toward the light, and know that each kind thought and honest word in your life echoes in that eternal moment. If the secrets of the Book of the Dead brought you a sense of peace or wonder, please share your thoughts below. Have you ever created a ritual to honor someone you've lost or to prepare yourself for life's big transitions? Share your story, and if you'd like more peaceful voyages through history's soft mysteries, subscribe and click the bell. Thank you for joining me. May your dreams be guided by gentle words, and may tomorrow greet you with newfound calm and compassion. Uncovering KV55, The Tomb of Questions. What if a single dusty chamber could hold more mysteries than an entire city of grand pyramids? Imagine stepping into a narrow passageway, the air heavy with the scent of ancient stone, and finding a tomb filled with artifacts from different eras, golden faces, carved boxes, and a solitary, damaged mummy whose identity sparks endless debate. That is the quiet intrigue of KV55, a lesser-known tomb in the Valley of the Kings that seems to ask more questions than it answers. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever entered a place that felt both ordinary and charged, with hidden history? Maybe a forgotten cellar under an old house, or a quiet alcove in a local museum that made you pause. Share your experience and where you're listening from in the comments below. And if gentle journeys through archaeological mystery help soothe your mind, please like this video and subscribe so we can keep exploring together. In 1907, British archaeologist Edward Ayrton unearthed KV55 under a heap of rubble left by tomb robbers. Inside, he found a single coffin tipped on its side, its gilded mask damaged, and a small cache of treasures that didn't quite fit together. A golden shrine bearing the name of Queen Tai lay beside a set of alabaster jars inscribed with Amenhotep, III's titles. On a wooden box was inscribed the name Smenkhare, a little understood pharaoh who briefly ruled after Akhenaten's reign. And under the debris lay a mummy wrapped in hastily applied bandages, its face swollen and its bones brittle. Think about organizing a photo album of your family, each section labeled by year or by grandparent. Then imagine someone shuffles the pages, mixes photos of babies with wedding portraits, and writes uncertain names beside them. You'd feel both curiosity and confusion, wanting to set things straight but unsure where each memory truly belongs. KV55 feels the same, an album missing clear captions, its fragments waiting for us to piece together the story. At first, many believed the mummy was Akhenaten himself, the heretic king who built a new city at Amarna and changed centuries-old religious traditions to worship a single sun disk. But the bones belonged to a man in his mid-20s, too young for Akhenaten, who lived into his 30s. Others suggested Shmenkar, but we know almost nothing about him. The artifacts pointed in multiple directions, as if someone gathered tokens from a royal shrine in haste, then sealed them in a forgotten corner. On a simple day, we might pick up a few souvenirs from a trip, a shell from the beach, a postcard from a friend, and store them together on a shelf. If we move or clean, those items can end up mixed or misplaced. Yet they still carry meaning. The treasures of KV55 feel like hurried mementos, saved in a time of upheaval, perhaps when Amarna's power fell and priests rushed to recover royal remains before the old gods reclaimed their temples. This mix of art styles, names, and ages speaks to a turbulent chapter in Egyptian history. Akhenaten's radical changes, including new art forms where the pharaoh's body was shown with exaggerated curves and elongated features, had upset the balance of tradition. When his successors reversed those reforms, they tried to erase Amarna's legacy. KV55 may be the site where they stored or reburied remnants of that era, caught between tribute and repudiation. In relationships, we sometimes struggle with change. We embrace new ideas, then return to familiar routines. We tuck away parts of ourselves that feel awkward or misunderstood. KV55's artifacts reflect that struggle, a time when loyalties shifted, names changed, and beliefs were rewritten. Yet, even when people tried to wipe away a chapter, the stones and metals remembered. Modern science offers fresh clues. CT scans reveal more about the mummy's age and health. DNA tests seek family ties, comparing traces to mummies known for certain lineage. Ground-penetrating radar maps the tomb's hidden passages, showing how it connects to other nearby chambers. Even artificial intelligence weighs inscriptions, grouping names and titles to suggest who may have owned each object. But no matter how advanced our tools, they cannot capture the hush you feel when you stand before that battered coffin and realize you're face-to-face with history's unanswered question. That moment of quiet wonder is something we all share. In mental health, we talk about sitting with uncertainty, allowing feelings to surface without forcing answers. KV55 teaches that history, too, sometimes prospers in the gray zones. Not every detail is meant to be solved at once. Some puzzles invite us to look again, to listen more deeply, and to honor the complexity of human lives. As you settle into calm tonight, picture that narrow tomb corridor, dimly lit by a single lamp's glow. Feel the cool stone walls close around you, smell the faint dust of centuries, and imagine brushing away the last flakes of debris to reveal a gleaming piece of gold. Let the hush of that discovery carry you into rest, reminding you that every fragment of the past holds a gentle story, waiting to be heard. If the enigma of KV55 touched you, please share your thoughts below. Have we ever gathered tokens from different chapters of our own lives and felt their mix shape our story? Let us know. And if you'd like more serene journeys through the world's quiet mysteries, subscribe and click the bell. Thank you for joining me. May your thoughts tonight be as gentle as the whispers of a tomb, and may tomorrow bring new fragments of wonder to piece together. Cleopatra's missing tomb. What if the final chapter of one of the world's most famous love stories is still waiting to be found beneath the sands? That's the haunting question that keeps archaeologists digging, keeps historians debating, and keeps dreamers like us wondering night after night. Cleopatra, the last queen of ancient Egypt, a woman of unmatched intellect and beauty, whose charm could sway emperors and alter the course of nations, vanished from history without leaving behind a tomb. How is that possible? Where is the grand resting place of the woman who stood at the edge of empires, who faced down Rome, and who chose death over surrender? Before we begin this quiet journey into the past, take a deep breath. Let the winds of the Nile settle in your imagination. And if stories like these gently stir your thoughts before sleep, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share where you're listening from. Have you ever visited an ancient place and felt like something or someone was still there, just beyond reach? Now, let's begin. When Cleopatra and her lover, the Roman general Mark Antony, realized that their defeat was inevitable, they didn't run. They chose their own ending. Antony fell on his sword. Cleopatra, in legend, let an asp snake bite her arm. Two lovers united in life and death, leaving behind a story that has survived for over 2,000 years. But where are they now? No grand mausoleum has been found, no royal tomb, no golden coffin, nothing. Only silence. This silence is louder than words. In ancient Egypt, death wasn't an end. It was a journey. Tombs were built not just for burial, but for eternal life. Pharaohs constructed great pyramids and intricate underground chambers. Queen Nefertari's tomb, for instance, is a painted masterpiece. Yet Cleopatra, the last pharaoh, and arguably the most famous, has no known resting place. This missing tomb feels like a tear left unwept, a love letter never sent, a story paused mid-sentence. Many believe her tomb lies somewhere near Alexandria, the once glorious coastal city she ruled. But Alexandria today is partly underwater, battered by earthquakes and time. Temples have collapsed, and ruins now rest beneath the Mediterranean Sea. Divers have found fragments, statues, columns, and coins bearing Cleopatra's face, serene and regal, but never the tomb. Others believe she may lie beneath the temple of Taposiris Magna, west of Alexandria, a place whose name means Great Tomb of Osiris, the god of the dead. Archaeologists here have uncovered shafts, burial corridors, and even mummies from Cleopatra's time. Could this be where she sleeps? We don't know. But imagine a dark passage lit by flickering torches, dusty walls painted with forgotten prayers, and at the end, a sealed chamber, untouched for millennia. Inside, two stone coffins, side by side. A faded inscription reads something like, "Lover of Antony, Queen of Egypt, Daughter of the Nile." This imagined moment has lived in the hearts of thousands, historians, poets, and dreamers alike. Why do we care so much about Cleopatra's final resting place? Maybe because her story wasn't just about politics or power, it was about pride, about refusing to be paraded in chains before the Roman people, about choosing dignity in death. And somewhere, we all understand that. The human desire to end on our own terms, to be remembered not for defeat, but for defiance. This historical emotion, this bittersweet ache, is what makes her missing tomb feel personal. Cleopatra was not merely a ruler. She was a daughter, a mother, a scholar, a strategist. She spoke many languages. She studied philosophy and astronomy. She sailed up the Nile to connect with her people, not just rule from a throne. And in the end, she chose love and honor over life itself. Perhaps her tomb is lost not just to nature or time, but because it was meant to be hidden. A secret, known only to her closest servants, a place where Rome could never touch her, where her legacy could lie untouched by conquest. Today, explorers still dig, not only with shovels and picks, but with sonar, satellite scans, and robots that dive through underwater ruins. Every broken vase, every carved scarab, every fallen column might carry a whisper of the queen they search for. Still, the tomb remains unfound, and maybe, in a way, that's fitting. Cleopatra was never meant to be confined. Not by Rome, not by history, not even by a tomb. Instead, her story lives on in marble statues, in Shakespeare's words, in museum exhibits, and now, in quiet moments like this, when we lie back and imagine her silhouette against the desert sky, walking toward her unknown, grave with the strength of a queen and the heart of a lover. As you drift toward rest tonight, let your thoughts settle in the warm air of ancient Egypt. Hear the waves gently lap against Alexandria's ruins. Feel the hush of sand blowing across. Forgotten stones. Somewhere out there, Cleopatra still waits. Not just to be found, but to be remembered. If her story moved you, let us know in the comments. What do you think became of her? And if you'd like to continue this soft, thoughtful journey through the world's greatest mysteries, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. Sleep well, dream deeper, and may you walk beside the Nile in peace tonight. Real age of the Sphinx. What if one of the oldest monuments on Earth is even older than history itself claims? Imagine that. A creature carved from living rock staring endlessly into the horizon, guarding secrets that not even time can erode. For centuries, the Great Sphinx of Giza has sat in silent meditation, yet beneath its gaze lies a question that continues to disturb archaeologists, geologists, and dreamers alike. How old is it? Really? Tonight, in this soft moment of stillness, let's sink into the warm sands of time and explore the mysterious truth behind the real age of the Sphinx. Gently, calmly, as if we're brushing dust off ancient stone with our fingertips. And if stories like this help you drift into thoughtful dreams, feel free to like, subscribe, and share where you're listening from. Has any ancient place ever left you speechless, like it was watching you instead? Let's begin. The Great Sphinx. Part lion, part human. All mystery. It rests on the Giza Plateau, beside the towering pyramids, its body stretching 240 feet long, its face carved with the likeness of a forgotten ruler. Mainstream Egyptologists believe the Sphinx was built around 2500 BCE by the pharaoh Khufu, over 4,500 years ago. But what if it's far older? This is where the story deepens. In the 1990s, a geologist named Dr. Robert Schoch examined the erosion patterns on the Sphinx. What he saw wasn't consistent with mere wind-blown sand, the typical force of desert weathering. Instead, he saw signs of water erosion, deep vertical fissures carved by rainfall over long periods. But here's the problem. Heavy rains haven't fallen on the Giza Plateau since at least 7000 BCE, maybe even earlier. If the Sphinx shows signs of water damage, then it must have existed during a time when Egypt was lush, green, and filled with storms. That pushes the Sphinx back thousands of years before Pharaoh Khufu ever sat on the throne. This theory sent shockwaves through the academic world. Could the Sphinx be over 9,000 years old? Who built it, if not the ancient Egyptians we know? Was there an earlier civilization, now buried and forgotten? The mystery feels like a heartbeat hidden beneath stone. Mainstream scholars were skeptical. They argued the erosion could have come from groundwater or changes in temperature. But Schoch and others stood firm, pointing to the shape, depth, and direction of the damage. None of it matched what wind or sand alone would do. And so, a new possibility was born, that the Sphinx predates even the pyramids. A monument built by a people we don't remember, a civilization lost to history, and possibly to catastrophe. Some point to the mythical, lost civilization of Atlantis. Others suggest a pre-dynastic culture erased by time and flood. Whatever the truth, this idea carries deep historical emotion, because if the Sphinx is older than Egypt itself, then history as we know it is incomplete, maybe even wrong. The thought is humbling. Imagine standing before the Sphinx thousands of years ago, not as a tourist, but as a villager, seeing its giant face for the first time. What did it mean to those early people? Was it a god, a guardian, A memory of something even older? Even today, the Sphinx refuses to give up its secrets. Its face is weathered, its nose long gone, perhaps removed by invaders or time. Some claim the Sphinx once bore inscriptions, lost now or erased. Beneath its paws lies a chamber, discovered, with ground-penetrating radar, but never fully explored. What might it contain? A scroll? A relic? Or just silence? And then there's the mystery of the head itself. Some researchers argue that the head of the Sphinx is disproportionately small compared to its body. Could it have been recarved? Was it originally something else? A lion, perhaps, or even a jackal, later changed to honor a pharaoh? The body shows signs of great age. But the face? Less so. Is the Sphinx then a recycled monument? One built in one age and claimed by another? If so, it may be the oldest structure still standing on Earth, not just by centuries, but by millennia, and yet it sits quietly, watching the stars rise and fall, year after year, watching empires come and go, watching time itself, like a stone guardian of human memory. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine lying in the warm sand at the base of the Sphinx. The air is still. The sky above is painted with stars. And that giant face stares straight ahead. Calm, eternal, mysterious. Does it remember? Does it hold within its silent heart the story of a world long forgotten? We may never know, but perhaps that's the real beauty of the Sphinx, not just in its age or size, but in its enduring mystery. A riddle not to be solved, but to be pondered, night after night. If this story sparked your wonder, leave a comment. How old do you think the Sphinx truly is? And if you'd like to explore more timeless mysteries before you sleep, subscribe and follow along. Until next time, sleep softly, dream deeply, and may your imagination wander freely beneath ancient stars. Why royal tombs were defaced? What if the pharaohs were not just buried, but purposefully erased from history? It's a strange and unsettling thought. The ancient Egyptians believed in immortality through memory, that as long as your name was spoken, your soul lived on. But what happens when your name is scratched out, your face chiseled away, your entire legacy reduced to dust? Tonight, we explore one of the quietest and most haunting crimes in history. Not theft, not war, but erasure, the deliberate defacement of royal tombs. It didn't happen by accident. And it wasn't the work of time. It was the work of human hands. Hands that wanted certain kings and queens to be forgotten forever. Close your eyes. Let's go there, together. In the deep, narrow corridors of the Valley of the Kings, beyond the grand entrances and sacred hieroglyphs, lie hidden scars. Not the kind left by time or nature, but by intention. Walls where once bold hieroglyphs have been violently scraped away. Faces of pharaohs, once proud and eternal, now nothing more than smooth ghostly outlines. Tombs once glowing with golden images, now marked by silence and shadow. Why? The answer, like so much in ancient Egypt, begins with power. You see, in Egypt, to rule was to become divine. Pharaohs were more than kings. They were gods in human form. And like gods, their presence extended into death. They built vast tombs, filled with treasures, spells, and sacred art, all designed to guide their soul into the afterlife. But immortality came with a price. You had to be remembered. Your name had to be carved into stone, your story told again and again, because to be forgotten was to die a second, eternal death. And that's why erasing someone's name, their image, even a single symbol, was not just an act of rebellion, it was a form of spiritual assassination. Let's take one of the most famous examples, Hatshepsut. She was a powerful female pharaoh who ruled for over 2 decades. Bold, intelligent, and commanding, she even wore the traditional false beard of kings. Under her reign, Egypt prospered. But after her death, her stepson Thutmose III took power, and a strange thing happened. her name began to disappear. From statues, from walls, from obelisks. Her beautiful tomb was left intact. But her legacy? Erased. Why? Historians still debate it. Some say it was politics. Others think it was an attempt to restore male dominance in the royal lineage, but the result was the same. Hatshepsut nearly vanished from history, and only rediscovered, thousands of years later, piece by piece. She was almost a forgotten god. Then there's Akhenaten, the so-called heretic pharaoh. He changed everything. He abandoned Egypt's many gods and declared that only one god should be worshipped, Aten, the sun disk. He moved the capital, rewrote religious laws, and even changed the art style of Egypt to be more natural and intimate. It was revolutionary. But revolutions rarely last. After his death, the old priests returned, the temples reopened, and Akhenaten's name became forbidden. His images were destroyed, his tomb was sealed. His family, including his famous son, Tutankhamun, were forced to distance themselves from his legacy. It wasn't enough to end his rule. They had to make it look like he never existed. But defacing tombs wasn't always about vengeance. Sometimes it was about protection. Grave robbers were real. They came for gold, for jewels, for the treasures buried with the dead. But worse than theft was the fear that someone would destroy your name. Not for riches, but for revenge. So families and priests would sometimes hide names, or bury fake inscriptions to trick invaders. Some even built decoy tombs, just to protect the true burial chamber deep within. It was a game of shadows, a race between those who wanted memory preserved and those who wanted it buried forever. And yet, despite all this, some stories survived. Thanks to desert winds, shifting sands, and careful preservation, archaeologists have uncovered many of these erased names. They've pieced together broken hieroglyphs. They've reconstructed faces once violently erased. The forgotten kings are being remembered again. And so we're left with a haunting truth. The ancients believed that words could give life beyond death, that memory was power, and that the greatest fear was not dying, but being forgotten. When we walk through the quiet tombs of Egypt today, it's not just stone we see, it's the silence of names once whispered through generations. Names that someone, somewhere, tried to silence forever. But tonight, by remembering them, even in this quiet story, we give them a little piece of that immortality back. If this touched you, let us know in the comments, which forgotten figure would you bring back to memory? And if you're enjoying these soft journeys through the ancient world, subscribe, and we'll uncover more stories together, piece by piece, night by night. Until next time, sleep gently, and may no part of your story ever be erased. Riddle of Khufu's solar boat. Have you ever wondered why a perfectly preserved, full-sized wooden ship, over 4,000 years old, was buried in pieces beneath the sands of Egypt, never meant to sail again? It's called the solar boat of Khufu. And it's not just an artifact, it's a mystery, a riddle carved in cedar and silence, hidden beside the Great Pyramid itself. Why was it buried? Where was it meant to go? And most haunting of all, was it ever meant for the world of the living? Let's step softly into the desert wind and gently unfold this forgotten chapter of ancient Egypt. In the shadow of the Great Pyramid of Giza, in 1954, a team of workers stumbled upon something extraordinary. As they were clearing rubble along the base of the pyramid, they uncovered a series of limestone slabs, not random debris, but something deliberate, precise. When they removed them, they discovered a sealed pit, deep and undisturbed. Inside were neatly stacked cedar wood planks, over 1,000 pieces, disassembled, dry, and waiting. What lay beneath those stones had not seen the light of day for over 4,500 years. The pieces belonged to a magnificent ship, over 140 feet long, crafted from Lebanon cedar, lashed together with rope. not nails. When reassembled, it revealed an elegant, papyrus-shaped boat with high ends, a cabin, and oar holes, a ship unlike any modern vessel, a vessel that had not touched water in millennia. It came to be known as the Khufu solar boat, named after the pharaoh Khufu, the mysterious ruler who built the Great Pyramid. But here's the riddle. This boat had no sails, no clear signs of seawater use, and no river nearby to launch it into. It was buried intentionally, entombed next to the pyramid like a secret offering. So why build a ship and never sail it? 2. Answer that. We must enter the mind of the ancient Egyptians, where life and death were two halves of the same journey. To them, death was not an end, but a transformation, a passage. And just as the pharaoh ruled the earth in life, he was meant to rule the heavens in death. According to their beliefs, the sun god Ra sailed across the sky each day in a golden boat, and at night he journeyed through the underworld in a second vessel, fighting off chaos and darkness to rise again in the morning. The pharaoh, seen as Ra's earthly embodiment, would join this celestial voyage after death. That's where the boat comes in. The solar boat may not have been built for water. It was built for the stars, a symbolic vessel meant to carry Khufu's soul through the heavens, guiding him through the afterlife alongside the gods. Every plank, every rope, every curve of the hull was a prayer, not for the journey of the body, but for the journey of the spirit. And yet, something about the boat lingers in mystery. Why bury it in pieces? Why so carefully disassembled and hidden? Some scholars believe the burial was a ritual, that the disassembly was part of a spiritual process, like rebirth. Others suggest the boat was once used in a funerary procession, then dismantled and buried as part of the king's transformation from mortal to divine. And there are still those who wonder if there were more boats like it, lost beneath the sands, waiting to be discovered. In fact, a second boat pit was found nearby, still sealed, and new technologies, including infrared and remote scanning, hint at even more voids and chambers around the Great Pyramid, whose secrets remain untouched. Khufu himself remains an enigma. Unlike later pharaohs, we have almost no statues of him, no detailed inscriptions. His burial chamber in the Great Pyramid is stark empty, stripped of decoration, and yet this boat, buried in silence, may speak more of his journey than any gold or jewels could. Standing before the reconstructed solar boat today, housed in a special museum beside the pyramid, one can't help but feel a strange hush, as if you're looking at something sacred, something that doesn't belong entirely to this world. The cedar wood, still fragrant after thousands of years, carries the scent of ritual. The curved hull whispers of windless journeys, not across oceans, but through time and eternity. And when you stare at it long enough, one question refuses to leave. Was it meant to carry a king, or was it meant to carry a soul? Tonight, as you listen to the wind outside your window, remember the quiet tombs of Egypt. Remember the hands that shaped each wooden beam. Remember the people who believed, truly, deeply, that death was just another kind of voyage. And in the silence, perhaps, you too will hear the creak of Khufu's solar boat, drifting slowly through the stars, carrying the memory of a forgotten king. May your dreams be gentle, and your journey light. Secrets of the Osiris Cult. What if death was not the end? What if thousands of years ago people believed that you could practice dying, prepare for it, even pass through it, and return reborn with divine power? This is not fiction. This was the central mystery of one of the most powerful and secretive cults in ancient Egypt, the cult of Osiris. And for those who dared to follow its path, it changed everything. Let's begin where the myth begins, with betrayal, with death, and with the promise that life, even after death, could bloom again. Osiris was no ordinary god. He was once a king, wise, just, and beloved. According to Egyptian mythology, he ruled the earth peacefully until his jealous brother, Set, tricked him into entering a coffin, sealed it shut, and cast it into the Nile. Osiris drowned, the first to die. But death was not his end. His wife, Isis, found his body, gathered his broken parts, and with the help of ancient magic brought him back, not to the world of the living, but as ruler of the underworld. Osiris became the god of death, but not the grim kind we imagine today. To the ancient Egyptians, Osiris represented resurrection, renewal, the cycle of nature and spirit. He became the judge of souls, the one who weighed hearts against the feather of truth. But here is where the story deepens and where the cult begins. As Egypt evolved, more and more people began to worship Osiris not just as a god to revere, but as a path to follow. They believed that by identifying with Osiris, by reenacting his death and rebirth, they too could be reborn in the afterlife, not as ghosts or shadows, but as transformed beings, radiant and eternal. This belief birthed rituals, initiations, sacred texts, and eventually, a cult so powerful it reached every corner of Egypt. The cult of Osiris was not a public religion. It was intimate, mysterious, in places like Abydos, believed to be Osiris's final resting place. Secret ceremonies were performed deep within temple walls. Pilgrims traveled hundreds of miles to be present at these rites. There, the death of Osiris was dramatized in powerful passion plays, where priests played the roles of gods, enacting the slaying of Osiris, the mourning of Isis, and the miraculous resurrection. But the deeper rites were hidden. Only initiates knew what truly took place. Whispers speak of symbolic coffins, of nights spent in utter darkness, of sacred chants spoken in forgotten tongues. Participants would symbolically die and then be reborn, emerging with the conviction that they too could overcome death. Some scholars believe that wine, incense, or mild hallucinogens may have been used during rituals to simulate the journey between life and death. Others suggest that the transformation was psychological, a profound spiritual awakening that reshaped a person's identity forever. What we do know is this: the promise of Osiris was revolutionary. Before his cult, only pharaohs were believed to become divine in death. But with Osiris, even common people could hope for an afterlife. If they lived with purity, if they passed the judgment of the underworld, they could join Osiris in his realm. This was a radical shift. It democratized eternity. And yet, the mysteries remained. Ancient texts such as the Pyramid texts, Coffin texts, and later the Book of the Dead are filled with invocations to Osiris. They contain passwords, spells, and instructions for navigating the treacherous path through the underworld. In these writings, the deceased often refers to themselves as Osiris' name, literally merging their identity with the god, as if becoming Osiris was the only way to survive the afterlife. Imagine that. Thousands of people over centuries, all longing not just to worship Osiris, but to become him. One of the most haunting pieces of this puzzle lies in the tombs of high priests and royal officials. Deep within their sarcophagi, Osirian symbols are painted with extraordinary care. The Djed pillar, representing stability, the crook and flail, the green skin of rebirth. Even the mummification process itself was Osirian. The way the body was wrapped, the placement of amulets, the prayers spoken, all were patterned after Osiris's resurrection. But despite all these clues, the full rituals of the Osiris cult were never written down in full. Perhaps they were too sacred. Perhaps they were whispered from mouth to ear, passed down in darkness, kept alive in shadow, and maybe that's how they wanted it, because the power of Osiris wasn't in what was seen, it was in what was felt, a deep, aching hope that death could be more than a goodbye, that through devotion, mystery, and transformation, the soul could rise again. Even today, the myth of Osiris touches something ancient in us. The longing to be remembered, the desire to overcome, the belief that beneath the silence of the grave, something sacred waits. So tonight, as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, remember Osiris, remember the god who died and yet rose, remember the secret rites held in stone temples beneath the stars, and remember that even in a world of sand and silence, the promise of rebirth still lingers. In every heart that dares to dream beyond the veil, Egyptian obelisks, ancient precision. How did they do it? How did ancient Egyptians, over 3,000 years ago, carve, transport, and erect towering pillars of stone weighing hundreds of tons, with no modern machines, no cranes, no steel tools? What if I told you that a single mistake, a single wrong strike with a hammer, could ruin months of labor? This is the quiet enigma of the Egyptian obelisks, silent, slender, and immovable. They pierce the sky as if reaching for the gods, but behind their beauty lies a mystery of impossible precision, a level of craftsmanship that defies the understanding of even our most advanced engineers. Let us slow down and step back into the sands of time. The story begins not with temples, but with quarries. In the scorching desert heat, men climbed the granite cliffs of Aswan, a place where the earth gave birth to one of the hardest stones known to man. These stones were not soft nor forgiving. They were pure granite, dense, unyielding, filled with tiny crystals that sparkled in the sun. And yet, the Egyptians chose this unforgiving material to carve their most sacred monuments. Why? Because obelisks were no ordinary structures. To the ancient Egyptians, an obelisk was a divine object, a frozen ray of the sun god Ra, a symbol of light, order, and eternity. They believed it could channel energy from the heavens down into the earth. That made its construction a sacred act. But here's where the real wonder begins. The Egyptians carved these giant monoliths, sometimes over 100 feet tall, weighing more than 300 tons, from a single piece of granite. One solid block, no cuts, no joints. One mistake during extraction, and the whole project was ruined. We know this because we can still see it. In the Aswan quarry lies what is known as the unfinished obelisk. It was being carved directly from the bedrock when, somewhere along the line, a long crack formed down its side. All that effort, all that precision, and it had to be abandoned. It remains there today, still attached to the earth, as if frozen in mid-birth. But for the obelisks that were completed, their journey had just begun. Once carved, the stone had to be transported. But how do you move a 300-ton obelisk across miles of rocky terrain? There are no written records explaining the method in full. But archaeologists have pieced together theories from wall carvings, tools, and ship remains. One possibility, they used sledges, massive wooden platforms dragged by teams of hundreds. To ease the friction, workers may have poured water over the sand, making it firmer and reducing resistance. It's such a simple trick, and yet modern experiments show that it works. Then came the river journey. Some obelisks were loaded onto specially designed boats, floated down the Nile, and delivered to sacred cities like Thebes or Heliopolis. But the most astonishing moment, the one that still sparks awe, was how they raised them. Imagine this. You have a narrow base carved to perfection, a 100-foot stone tower lying flat, and no modern crane to lift it. Yet they stood them upright with such precision, many have survived earthquakes and centuries of erosion. Some theories suggest they dug a sloped trench, placed the obelisk inside. It then gradually raised it using levers, ropes, and counterweights. It required perfect balance, perfect timing, perfect coordination, and somehow they did it. Obelisks were placed in front of temples and holy sites, aligned with cosmic patterns, the sun's path, and cardinal directions. Their four faces were polished smooth and etched with hieroglyphs, praises to the gods, names of pharaohs, records of divine deeds. These inscriptions were not just decoration, they were stories carved into eternity. Even more impressive, the mathematical accuracy. Modern engineers are stunned by the symmetry, the tapering sides, the sharp, perfect pyramid at the top, called the pyramidion, often covered in gold to reflect the sun's first light. These were not crude carvings, they were celestial instruments, markers of time, seasons, and spiritual connection, and they were built with tools made of copper and stone. No diamond saws, no electricity, just human hands, ancient knowledge, and unwavering will. Today, many of Egypt's obelisks stand not in Egypt, but in distant cities around the world: Paris, London, New York, Rome, carried off during conquests, taken as trophies, or gifted as symbols of peace. And yet, even far from their homeland, they carry something profound, a sense of stillness, a feeling that time itself has paused, because when you stand before one, even in the middle of a modern city, you can feel the weight of ages pressing through the stone. The obelisks are not just monuments, they are echoes of a civilization that believed precision was a form of worship, that aligning stone with sun could align the soul with the divine. That perfection was sacred. So the next time you walk beneath one of these silent sentinels, let your gaze rise slowly along its face. Let your mind drift to those ancient hands, sunburned, calloused, determined, chipping away at granite with nothing but stone and spirit. And ask yourself, if they could do this, what else might they have known? What secrets still sleep in the shadow of the obelisk? Collapse of Egypt's Old Kingdom. What happens when a civilization, built on centuries of strength and wisdom, suddenly begins to crumble, not from outside invasion, but from within? How does a world of monumental achievements, majestic pyramids, and divine kingship descend into chaos and silence? This is the haunting story of the collapse of Egypt's Old Kingdom, a period once hailed as the Age of the Pyramids, a time when pharaohs ruled as gods on earth, and the Nile's blessings seemed endless. Yet by around 2200 BCE, this great kingdom, which had stood strong for centuries, began to unravel, and the questions remain. Why? How? What brought about the fall of this ancient world's golden age? Imagine the land of Egypt then, sprawling, cities buzzing with life, vast granaries filled with grain, artisans crafting wonders of stone and gold, priests chanting sacred hymns. The Old Kingdom was more than just power. It was a spiritual force, a union of earth and heaven, expressed in towering pyramids and intricate religious ceremonies. But beneath this grandeur, cracks were slowly forming. The Nile, the life-giver, which had always flooded predictably each year, began to behave unpredictably. Less water, shorter floods, poorer harvests. Without the Nile's gift, the very foundation of Egyptian life started to weaken. Food shortages spread. Famine whispered through villages. People who once thrived on abundance now faced hunger. At the same time, the pharaoh's power, once absolute and unquestioned, began to wane. The central government struggled to maintain control over distant provinces. Local governors, known as nomarchs, grew more independent, even rebellious. What was once a united kingdom became a collection of rival factions. This erosion of authority was like a slow leak in a mighty dam. Eventually, it would burst. Historical records and archaeological evidence suggest that a series of droughts hit the region, compounding the Nile's failure to flood properly. Climate change, some scholars argue, played a silent but deadly role. Crop failures led to economic instability, social unrest, and ultimately political fragmentation. But beyond environmental factors, internal struggles also fueled the collapse. The construction of enormous pyramids had demanded vast resources and labor. Was this unsustainable? Did the pharaoh's grand ambitions drain the kingdom's vitality? As famine and drought persisted, the people's faith in their rulers began to falter. Pharaohs were supposed to be divine, protectors of Ma'at, the cosmic order. But when disaster struck, when the land suffered, who was to blame? Priests and officials tried to maintain order, but even their power could not hold back the tide of change. The Old Kingdom eventually fractured into smaller, competing states. This period is often called the First Intermediate Period, a dark age of political chaos, economic decline, and cultural stagnation. It lasted for over a century, a time when Egypt's golden light dimmed. Yet even in this collapse, seeds of renewal were planted. The struggle and hardship forced Egyptians to rethink governance, religion, and society. The Middle Kingdom that followed rose from these ashes, a testament to resilience and reinvention. What lessons does this ancient story hold for us? Perhaps it reminds us that no empire, no matter how powerful, is immune to the forces of nature, the will of the people, or the consequences of imbalance. It shows the delicate dance between human ambition and environmental reality. And as we gaze upon the pyramids that still stand today, silent and majestic, we remember not just their builders, but the fragile world in which they lived, thrived, and ultimately faced collapse. The fall of the Old Kingdom is a powerful echo from the past, a whisper of how even the greatest civilizations can fall, and how from that fall, new hope can emerge. So when you think of Egypt's timeless monuments, also listen to the silent story of decline, a story as human as any of us, filled with triumph, struggle, and the unending hope for renewal. Egypt's secret trade with Punt. What if I told you that thousands of years ago, ancient Egyptians sailed beyond the known horizons in search of a mysterious land, a place of treasures and wonders that fueled their empire's grandeur? What secrets lay hidden in the voyages to a distant, almost mythical realm called Punt, a land that still puzzles historians and captures the imagination of explorers? Egypt's relationship with Punt was unlike any other ancient trade connection. It was not just a simple exchange of goods, but a sacred journey, shrouded in mystery and rich with meaning. The land of Punt, often called God's land by the Egyptians, was believed to be a paradise, a source of rare treasures, spices, gold, incense, and exotic animals, all essential for religious rituals and royal luxury. The Egyptians never fully revealed the exact location of Punt, perhaps to protect their valuable trade routes from rivals, or because the land itself was enveloped in mystery. Yet, ancient texts and stunning temple reliefs, especially those from the reign of Queen Hatshepsut, give us a glimpse into this secretive relationship. Imagine the great expedition led by Hatshepsut's fleet, sailing down the Red Sea, guided by stars and ancient knowledge, braving unknown waters. This was no ordinary voyage. It was a sacred mission to bring back the gifts of the gods. The temple carvings at Deir el-Bahri portray exotic trees being uprooted, animals like baboons and giraffes, and precious incense, treasures that told a story of faraway lands filled with life and magic. These expeditions to Punt were more than just commerce. They were acts of diplomacy, spiritual connection, and a celebration of Egypt's reach beyond its borders. The goods brought back were used in temples and palaces, connecting the earthly realm to the divine. But what was Punt really like? Scholars still debate. Some suggest it was located in the Horn of Africa, in modern-day Somalia or Eritrea, while others argue for southern Arabia. The descriptions hint at lush forests, fertile lands, and a culture unfamiliar yet respected by the Egyptians. This trade was also a testament to human courage and curiosity. To cross vast deserts and seas without modern navigation required boldness and deep understanding of nature's rhythms. It shows us how ancient civilizations were interconnected, how ideas and goods traveled long before our modern world. The mystery of Punt reminds us that history is not just about kings and battles, but also about human connection, exploration, and the desire to reach beyond the known. It's a story of hidden paths, whispered secrets, and the treasures found not only in gold and spices, but in the courage to venture into the unknown. as you think about the grandeur of ancient Egypt, its temples, pyramids, and art. Remember, the secret voyages to Punt, where the past still speaks through the waves and the scent of incense carried on the wind. It is a silent story of trade, trust, and the enduring quest for wonder. Origins of mummification practices. Have you ever wondered why ancient Egyptians devoted so much effort, time, and care to preserve the bodies of their dead? What deep belief or fear drove them to master the art of mummification, a process so meticulous that it still fascinates the world thousands of years later? The origins of mummification are more than a tale of embalming. They reveal the ancient Egyptians' profound relationship with life, death, and the eternal. Long before the towering pyramids and the golden mask of Tutankhamun, early Egyptians faced a pressing question: what happens after death? Their belief in an afterlife was not a vague hope, but a guiding principle shaping every aspect of their culture. They saw death not as an end, but as a transition, a journey where the soul would live on, needing its body as a home or vessel in the afterworld. In the beginning, burial practices were simple: bodies wrapped in linen and placed in shallow graves in the desert sands. But the harsh, dry environment naturally preserved some bodies, and over time, Egyptians noticed that these preserved bodies seemed to retain a stronger connection to the soul in the afterlife. This observation sparked a powerful desire to control and improve the preservation process. From these early days grew the complex art of mummification, an evolving practice that combined religion, science, and ritual. It wasn't just about stopping decay. It was about maintaining the physical form to protect the soul's identity, ensuring the deceased could live forever in the next world. The Egyptians believed the Kai, or life force, would return to the body, so its integrity was essential. The origins of these practices can be traced back over 4,000 years into the Old Kingdom era, where priests began experimenting with natural substances to halt decomposition. Natron, a natural salt found in the deserts, became the key ingredient, drawing moisture from the body and preventing decay. Alongside this, oils, resins, and spices were applied to cleanse and scent the body, preserving it not just physically, but spiritually. Mummification was not just a technical process, it was a sacred ceremony filled with symbolism. Every step, from the removal of organs to the wrapping of limbs, was guided by religious beliefs and spells from the Book of the Dead. Priests chanted prayers to protect the deceased from evil spirits, helping the soul navigate the dangerous path to the afterlife. But why did such care and reverence develop? The answer lies in the ancient Egyptian understanding of death as a fragile threshold. The body was more than flesh, it was the anchor for identity, memory, and existence itself. To lose the body was to lose the self. Mummification was a defiance of time and decay, a promise that the soul would continue, that memory would endure. Over centuries, the art of mummification grew more refined. Different methods emerged for kings, nobles, and common people, reflecting social status but all sharing the same spiritual core. The grandeur of royal tombs, filled with treasures and elaborate burial masks, was meant to honor the deceased and support their journey beyond. Beyond Egypt's borders, this practice influenced cultures and inspired countless legends. Yet, the mystery of how and why it began remains one of the most profound questions about human nature. Our desire to be remembered, to transcend mortality, and to find meaning in the face of death. As you imagine the ancient embalmers at work, gently wrapping limbs in linen, reciting sacred words, know that you are witnessing a ritual that connected generations, a timeless dance between life and death, hope and fear, science and spirituality. The origins of mummification are a story of humanity's deepest hopes and fears, a testament to a civilization's struggle to understand what lies beyond the final breath. It invites us to reflect on our own relationship with mortality and the ways we seek to preserve the essence of those we love long after they have gone. Pharaoh Menkare's missing remains. What if one of the greatest kings of ancient Egypt, whose legacy is carved in stone, was lost to history not just in memory, but physically? His remains vanished without a trace. How could the final resting place of Pharaoh Menkaure, builder of the smallest of the three great pyramids at Giza, disappear into mystery for thousands of years? This puzzling absence invites us into a quiet, haunting story that blends history, loss, and the fragile nature of legacy. Pharaoh Menkaure ruled during Egypt's 4th dynasty, around 2500 BCE, a time of immense architectural achievement and divine kingship. His pyramid, smaller than those of Khufu and Khafra, was no less significant, a symbol of power, religious devotion, and eternal life. It was meant to be his gateway to the afterlife, housing his body, treasures, and the spells needed to protect him forever. Yet for centuries, historians and archaeologists have searched for the remains that were supposed to lie within this grand tomb, only to find silence. The story of Menkaure's missing remains begins in the quiet sands of Giza. While his pyramid still stands as a testament to ancient engineering, the burial chamber yielded no definitive trace of his mummy. Unlike other pharaohs whose tombs were found with well-preserved bodies or at least some remains, Menkaure's physical form seemed to have vanished completely. This absence is more than just a gap in the archaeological record. It is a profound mystery that stirs questions about the fate of this great king. Several theories swirl around this enigma. Some suggest that Menkaure's tomb was robbed soon after his burial, an all-too common fate for Egyptian tombs. Grave robbers, driven by greed and the promise of gold and jewels, may have disturbed the resting place, destroying or stealing his mummy. Others believe that political turmoil or religious shifts may have led to his remains being deliberately moved or hidden to protect them from desecration. There is even speculation that natural disasters or flooding might have contributed to the loss. Yet behind these theories lies the emotional weight of what this loss means. For the ancient Egyptians, a king's mummy was sacred, the physical vessel that allowed his soul to live on forever. To lose that body was a tragedy, not only for the deceased, but for the nation itself. It was believed that the king's continued presence in the afterlife ensured the order and prosperity of Egypt. Without Menkaure's remains, the connection between past and present, between earth and the divine, feels fragile and incomplete. Exploring this mystery also forces us to confront the limits of human memory and preservation. Over millennia, time, theft, and decay have erased countless stories and relics. Menkaure's missing remains remind us that history is often a patchwork of what survives and what is lost. Sometimes, what is absent speaks as loudly as what is found. Despite the absence of his body, Menkaure's legacy endures in stone, art, and legend. His pyramid, though smaller, stands with the other giants at Giza, silent witnesses to a civilization's greatest dreams and deepest beliefs. Scholars continue to study inscriptions, artifacts, and nearby tombs, hoping to piece together clues about his life and death. Every discovery, no matter how small, brings us closer to understanding the man behind the mystery. As we reflect on Menkaure's missing remains, we also remember the human desire to be remembered, to leave a mark that outlives us. His story is a quiet echo through time, reminding us that even kings are mortal, and that the past holds secrets waiting patiently to be uncovered. In the calm of the desert night, with the pyramids casting long shadows under the stars, the absence of Menkaure's body speaks volumes. It invites us to ponder the fragility of history, the reverence for life beyond death, and the eternal quest to connect with those who came before us, even when their physical presence has slipped quietly away. The DB320 Cache Mystery. Have you ever wondered what happens when centuries-old secrets suddenly surface from the shadows of history? Imagine a hidden tomb, untouched for millennia, revealing a treasure trove of ancient knowledge and royal remains, a secret that could rewrite what we know about Egypt's past. This is the quiet and haunting story of the DB3D20 cache, a discovery that changed Egyptology forever, yet still holds mysteries that puzzle historians and archaeologists today. The DB320 cache, also known as the Royal Cache, is not a grand pyramid or a majestic temple. It's a hidden tomb tucked away in the arid cliffs near Deir el-Bahari, close to the Valley of the Kings. But inside this unassuming cave lay the carefully hidden mummies of more than 50 royal individuals, pharaohs, queens, and nobles whose remains were moved here centuries ago to protect them from grave robbers. This discovery, made in 1881, was one of the most significant finds in Egyptian archaeology, a secret vault that preserved a slice of ancient history when many other tombs had been plundered and lost. But why was this cache so carefully hidden? The answer lies in the turbulent times Egypt faced, especially during the Third Intermediate Period. The once mighty New Kingdom was falling apart. Political chaos, economic decline, and foreign invasions threatened the land. Tomb robbing was rampant, with thieves stealing gold, jewels, and sacred artifacts from the resting places of the dead. In response, the priests of ancient Egypt took a desperate but wise step. They gathered the royal mummies and moved them to this secret tomb, hidden deep in the cliffs, away from prying eyes and greedy hands. The DB320 cache holds more than just bones wrapped in linen. It holds stories of survival, reverence, and the struggle to protect a civilization's soul. Among the mummies found here were famous pharaohs like Seti I and Ramses II, kings who had ruled Egypt at its greatest height. To imagine their remains, carried carefully through the desert, reburied together to preserve their dignity, is to glimpse the profound respect the ancient Egyptians had for their ancestors and the sacred journey of the afterlife. Yet the discovery of DB320 also brought new questions and mysteries. How exactly did the priests manage to hide so many royal mummies without alerting tomb robbers? What rituals were performed to ensure the protection of these remains in their new resting place? And what secrets might still be hidden among the wrappings and artifacts that were moved there? Scholars continue to study the tomb's contents, uncovering clues that deepen our understanding, but also reveal how much more there is to learn. There is also an emotional weight to this story. The knowledge that even after death, these kings and queens were not forgotten. They were protected in secret, honored by those who feared their legacy might be destroyed. The DB320 cache stands as a testament to resilience, the human need to remember, and the lengths to which a culture will go to preserve its history against all odds. Today, as we stand far from those ancient cliffs, the mystery of DB320 invites us to reflect on the fragility and endurance of memory. The hidden tomb is a silent guardian of history, whispering stories of a time when Egypt's greatest leaders were given a second chance at peace. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest treasures are not gold or jewels, but the stories and respect preserved through the ages. In the calm stillness of the desert, where wind gently shifts the sands, the DB320 cache remains a profound symbol of hope and reverence, a secret kept safe through centuries, waiting patiently for us to listen, to learn, and to honor the legacy of ancient Egypt, Alexander's lost Egyptian tomb. What if one of history's greatest conquerors, Alexander the Great, whose empire stretched across continents, has a resting place lost to time, hidden somewhere beneath the sands of Egypt? This mystery has puzzled historians and explorers for centuries. Where exactly is Alexander's tomb? And why has it vanished from the pages of history? The story of Alexander's lost Egyptian tomb is not just about a missing grave. It's about legacy, power, and the fragile threads that connect us to the past. Alexander the Great, the young Macedonian king, conquered Egypt in 332 BCE without a fight and was welcomed as a liberator. The Egyptians even proclaimed him a pharaoh, a divine ruler destined to unite the East and West. During his brief but significant stay, Alexander laid the foundations for a new city, Alexandria, a center of knowledge and culture that still echoes through history today. But as grand as his conquests were, the mystery of his final resting place has shadowed his legacy ever since. Historical accounts tell us that after his death in Babylon in 323 BCE, Alexander's body was taken on a long journey back to Egypt, where it was to be entombed with the grandeur befitting a king who had ruled half the known world. Some sources suggest his tomb was in Alexandria, a city he founded and which soon became the cultural heartbeat of the ancient world. Others whisper of hidden locations, lost to time and turmoil. For centuries, the tomb of Alexander became a symbol of mystery and loss. Ancient historians like Plutarch and Strabo describe the tomb as a magnificent monument, visited by many, but its exact location was never clearly recorded. Over the centuries, Alexandria itself underwent wars, earthquakes, and flooding, and the shifting sands of time swallowed the tomb's secrets. Explorers have searched desperately through the ruins, diving into the depths of the Mediterranean Sea and scouring old texts, but the tomb remains elusive. The emotional weight of this lost tomb is profound. Alexander was more than a conqueror. He was a symbol of ambition, vision, and the blending of cultures. His missing resting place feels like a silent story of forgotten glory, a reminder that even the greatest empires and leaders are vulnerable to the relentless march of time. Imagine the ancient Egyptians, once proud to crown him as their pharaoh, watching as his tomb vanished beneath the layers of history, leaving only whispers behind. Yet the mystery of Alexander's tomb invites us to reflect on the nature of legacy. Is a tomb the true measure of a king's impact? Or does his story live on in the cities he built, the cultures he united, and the ideas he inspired? The lost tomb challenges us to look beyond stone and gold, toward the enduring human spirit that outlasts even the grandest monuments. Today, archaeologists and historians continue their quest, piecing together clues from dusty scrolls, underwater ruins, and ancient legends. The search itself has become a bridge between the past and present, connecting us with the echoes of a man whose ambition shaped the world. Whether Alexander's tomb is eventually found or remains hidden forever, the mystery itself carries a timeless message about memory, history, and the dreams that transcend death. In the quiet deserts and bustling streets of modern Alexandria, the story of Alexander's lost tomb lingers like a soft breeze, inviting us to listen closely, to wonder deeply, and to honor the mysteries that time still guards. This tale is a gentle reminder that some secrets are kept not to be forgotten, but to be cherished in the heart of history, patiently waiting for the day they might be revealed again. Abydos King List Enigma. Have you ever wondered how the ancient Egyptians chose to remember their kings, and why some rulers were erased from history as if they never existed? The Abydos King List holds the key to one of the greatest mysteries in Egyptology, an incomplete selective record of pharaohs that has puzzled historians for generations. This ancient list, carved carefully on temple walls, reveals much more than names. It whispers stories of power, politics, and forgotten legacies, wrapped in silence and shadows. The Abydos King List is found in the Temple of Seti I at Abydos, one of Egypt's oldest and most sacred sites. What makes this list so intriguing is that it does not simply record every ruler in Egypt's long history. Instead, it selectively names certain kings while omitting others entirely. This raises a compelling question. Why were some pharaohs honored and remembered, while others were deliberately erased from this sacred record? The mystery deepens the more we explore. Carved during the New Kingdom period around 1300 BCE, the list is a majestic series of names etched into stone, portraying the unbroken lineage of pharaohs who ruled Egypt from the distant past to Seti I's own time. It was meant to connect Seti I to the divine lineage of kings, legitimizing his reign and continuing the sacred tradition. But this list is far from a complete history. It skips over many rulers, especially those who might have been seen as illegitimate, controversial, or enemies of the state. Imagine the political and spiritual weight these omissions carried. To ancient Egyptians, names had power. Erasing a name was like erasing a soul's passage to the afterlife, a fate worse than death. Pharaohs who were left out of the Abydos King List were effectively condemned to be forgotten, their legacies wiped clean as though they had never ruled at all. This selective memory reflects the intense political struggles of ancient Egypt, where history was shaped not only by deeds, but by the narratives those in power chose to preserve. One of the most striking omissions is the mysterious pharaoh Akhenaten, the heretic king who attempted to revolutionize Egyptian religion by worshipping a single god, Aten. His radical changes threatened the traditional priesthood and the gods worshipped for millennia. His exclusion from the Abydos king list reveals the deep resentment and rejection that followed his reign. His memory was deliberately erased to restore the old order, a historical purge that speaks volumes about the struggle between change and tradition. The emotional layers of this enigma invite us to reflect on the fragility of memory and the selective nature of history. The Abydos king list is not just a record of kings. It is a story about who controls the past and who gets to be remembered. It asks us to consider how much of history is shaped by power, politics, and personal vendettas, and how many voices, stories, and lives have been lost in the process. Exploring the Abydos king list feels like walking through an ancient hall of echoes, where the names inscribed in stone remind us of glory and loss, pride and erasure. Each name is a link in the chain of a civilization that revered its past while fiercely controlling how that past was told. The missing names haunt the silence between the inscriptions, a quiet testament to the impermanence of fame and the enduring power of history's unseen hands. Today, archaeologists and historians continue to study this enigmatic list, piecing together clues from other sources, artifacts, and inscriptions to reconstruct the fuller story of Egypt's rulers. The Abydos king list remains a profound reminder of the mysteries hidden within ancient history, an invitation to look deeper, question more, and honor both what is remembered and what has been lost to time. As we stand before this ancient record, carved into the sacred stones of Abydos, we are reminded that history is never just about the past. It is about identity, power, and the stories we choose to carry forward. The Abydos king list enigma challenges us to listen closely to the silent spaces in history where forgotten kings await rediscovery, and where the past continues to speak, softly but persistently, across the ages. Hidden rites of Karnak's priests. Have you ever wondered what secrets lie behind the towering pillars and sprawling courtyards of Karnak, one of the most magnificent temples of ancient Egypt? Beyond its grand architecture and elaborate carvings, Karnak holds a world veiled in mystery, a world of sacred rituals, whispered incantations, and hidden rites performed by its devoted priests. These ceremonies, conducted far from the eyes of the ordinary, were the lifeblood of a civilization deeply connected to the divine. What were these hidden rites, and why were they guarded so fiercely? As we step quietly into this ancient sanctuary, we begin to unravel the sacred mysteries that shaped the spiritual heart of Egypt. Karnak, situated on the east bank of the Nile in Luxor, was not just a temple, but a vast religious complex dedicated primarily to the god Amun-Ra. It was here that the priests held immense power, not only spiritual but political and social. These men were the intermediaries between gods and humans, entrusted with maintaining Ma'at, the divine order of the universe. Their hidden rites were secret ceremonies designed to ensure the favor of the gods, the fertility of the land, and the continuity of the pharaoh's reign. The rituals of Karnak's priests were deeply symbolic and highly complex, involving chants, offerings, and mysterious actions performed in dimly lit sanctuaries. Many of these rites remain elusive to modern historians because they were intentionally concealed. The priests guarded their knowledge closely, passing it down orally and through coded inscriptions, fearful that outsiders might misuse or disrespect the sacred traditions. One of the most fascinating aspects of these hidden rites is their connection to the cycles of nature and the cosmos. The priests believed that their ceremonies mirrored the rhythms of the stars, the flooding of the Nile, and the eternal battle between order and chaos. By performing these rites, they were not just worshipping, they were participating in the cosmic dance that kept the world in balance. This belief infused their every action with profound meaning, making Karnak not just a place of worship, but a living center of the universe's mysteries. The historical emotion tied to Karnak's hidden rites is palpable. These ceremonies were performed during times of crisis and celebration alike, whether to heal a land struck by drought or to honor a victorious pharaoh. Imagine the solemn faces of the priests, their voices rising and falling in ancient chants, as they sought to commune with gods whose presence they felt so near yet could never fully see. It was a sacred duty filled with awe and fear, joy and reverence. However, Karnak's priests were not just religious figures. They were also powerful political players. Their influence extended beyond the temple walls, shaping the course of Egyptian history. The hidden rites served to reinforce the divine right of the pharaoh and the social order. Through these sacred ceremonies, the priests legitimized rulership and connected the mortal realm with the divine, weaving religion and governance into an inseparable tapestry. The secrecy surrounding these rites has led to many theories and legends. Some say the priests possessed ancient knowledge about life, death, and the afterlife that was lost over centuries. Others believe the rites included healing practices, astrology, and even mystical wisdom that could alter the fate of the kingdom. Whatever the truth, the hidden rites of Karnak's priests remind us of a time when spirituality was central to daily life and every action carried the weight of cosmic significance. Today, archaeologists continue to uncover new artifacts and inscriptions that shed light on Karnak's mysteries. Each discovery brings us closer to understanding the sacred world of the priests, their rituals, beliefs, and profound connection to the gods. Yet much remains hidden, cloaked in silence, by the sands of time and the deliberate secrecy of those who once walked the temple's shadowed halls. As we reflect on the hidden rites of Karnak's priests, we are invited to appreciate not just the grandeur of ancient Egypt's temples, but the quiet devotion and deep spirituality that sustained a civilization for millennia. These rites are echoes of a world where the sacred and the everyday were intertwined, where mystery was a path to understanding, and where the unseen guided the destiny of a people. In this calm contemplation, we find a timeless connection to the past, a reminder that some secrets, though hidden, continue to inspire wonder and reverence across the ages. Heracleion. Sunken cities echo. Have you ever imagined a grand city swallowed by the sea, its temples, statues, and streets lost beneath the waves for centuries, waiting silently to whisper its stories once more? Such a place truly exists. Heracleion, once a thriving port city of ancient Egypt, vanished beneath the Mediterranean waters, hiding its secrets until modern explorers uncovered its sunken ruins. What happened to this forgotten metropolis, and what echoes does it send from the depths, inviting us to listen closely to a past swallowed by time and tide? Heracleion, also known as Thanis by the Egyptians, was once a bustling gateway between Egypt and the Mediterranean world. This city was more than just a harbor, it was a sacred site, a crossroads of cultures, trade, and divine worship. Its towering temples, grand statues, and lively marketplaces thrived for centuries, shaping the history of Egypt's late period. The city was revered as the place where Greek and Egyptian civilizations met and mingled, sharing gods, goods, and stories. The mystery of Heracleion's disappearance is haunting. Around the 8th century AD, the city was lost to a series of natural disasters, earthquakes, subsidence, and rising sea levels, that caused the land beneath it to collapse and sink beneath the waves. For over a millennium its ruins lay buried, underwater, invisible to the world above but preserved in the silent embrace of the sea. The silence of Heracleion is both eerie and beautiful, a reminder of the fragile nature of human achievement in the face of nature's immense power. Rediscovered only in the early 21st century by underwater archaeologists, Heracleion revealed astonishing treasures and insights. Sunken temples with elaborately carved pillars, colossal statues half buried in sand, and countless artifacts spoke of a once vibrant city. These relics tell stories of trade routes brimming with spices, gold, and ivory, of religious rituals honoring gods both Egyptian and Greek, and of a civilization at the height of its cultural and economic influence. The emotional resonance of Heracleon's story lies in its sudden submersion, the loss of an entire way of life beneath the sea. Imagine the lives interrupted, families, merchants, priests, and rulers who called Heracleon home, suddenly facing the unimaginable as the earth gave way beneath them. Their world disappeared, swallowed by the water, leaving behind only memories carved in stone and whispered in the currents. This emotional weight connects us to the city in a profound way, reminding us of the transience of human glory and the enduring power of nature. Heracleon's sunken ruins have also changed our understanding of ancient Egypt's late period. They reveal a society that was deeply interconnected with the wider Mediterranean world, embracing foreign influences while preserving its traditions. The city was a place where the divine and the everyday met. The gods Amun, Osiris, and Isis were worshipped alongside Greek deities, reflecting a rich tapestry of belief and culture. Today, the echoes of Heracleion call out to us through the artifacts recovered from its depths. Each statue, each fragment of pottery, each inscribed stone is a voice from a lost world, urging us to remember and to learn. These echoes remind us that history is not just what remains on dry land, but also what lies hidden beneath the waves, waiting patiently to be heard again. As we slowly explore the sunken city's story, we feel a calm reverence for the mysteries it holds. The quiet underwater halls of Heracleion invite us to reflect on the passage of time, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the secrets buried deep within the earth and sea. In this stillness, the city's echo becomes a gentle song, one of loss and rediscovery, of human resilience, and the timeless bond between past and present. In listening to Heracleon's story, we connect not only with an ancient city, but with a universal truth, that beneath the surface of history lies a world waiting to be uncovered, full of wonder, sorrow, and hope. The sunken city's echo is a call to cherish what we have, to honor what was lost, and to remain ever curious about the mysteries still hidden beneath the waves. Tutankhamun's Secret Vaults. Have you ever wondered what secrets might still lie hidden within the ancient tombs of Egypt's most famous pharaoh? Tutankhamun, the Boy King, captured the world's imagination when his tomb was discovered, almost intact in 1922. Yet, many experts believe his tomb may still hold hidden chambers, secret vaults that could change everything we know about Egypt's history. What if behind those ancient walls, untouched for over 3,000 years, lie stories and treasures still waiting to be revealed? Tutankhamun ascended the throne as a child, ruling Egypt during a turbulent time when religious and political upheaval shaped the land. His tomb, small compared to other pharaohs, surprised archaeologists with its rich collection of artifacts, gold, and intricate treasures preserved in remarkable condition. But despite the excitement of the discovery, some puzzling clues suggested that the tomb might not be complete. Was the Boy King's resting place concealing more than met the eye? The idea of secret vaults connected to Tutankhamun's tomb first arose from subtle anomalies in the structure itself. Scans and radar studies hinted at voids behind the walls, spaces where no one had yet ventured. Could these hidden chambers belong to the tomb of Queen Nefertiti, one of ancient Egypt's most powerful and enigmatic women? If so, the discovery would rewrite the story of Egypt's 18th dynasty, revealing new layers of power, mystery, and family dynamics. The emotions stirred by this mystery are profound. Tutankhamun's tomb, discovered nearly a century ago, sparked hope, wonder, and sometimes fear. The so-called curse of the pharaohs echoing through history as explorers and archaeologists faced illness and death. The possibility of secret vaults taps into that same deep fascination. The tension between uncovering priceless knowledge and respecting the sacred space where ancient rulers rest. Imagine the patience and reverence needed by those who might one day open these hidden chambers. Behind the heavy stone doors could lie artifacts untouched by human hands for millennia, sacred objects designed to protect the king in the afterlife. and scrolls or inscriptions that tell stories lost to time. Each detail would not just be a treasure, but a connection, a bridge linking us to the hopes, fears, and beliefs of a civilization long vanished. The search for Tutankhamun's secret vaults is more than a hunt for gold or fame. It is a quest to understand the human heart beneath the regal mask, to glimpse the vulnerabilities of a young ruler who tried to restore order after a period of chaos. His life was brief, yet his legacy endures, wrapped in the gold of his burial mask and the whispers of the silent tomb. The historical emotion deepens as we consider the cultural and spiritual significance of these possible vaults. Ancient Egyptians believed deeply in the afterlife, preparing elaborate tombs to ensure safe passage and eternal life. Hidden chambers would be part of this sacred process, designed to confuse grave robbers or to hide the most powerful relics. Their secrets are locked not only in stone but in the faith of a people who saw death as a new beginning. Even today, the idea of uncovering such vaults evokes a quiet awe, a respectful pause. Modern technology allows us to peer through walls without breaking them, using radar and scans to glimpse the invisible. Yet the mystery remains, inviting patience and humility in equal measure. What stories will emerge when the silence is finally broken? What lessons from the past await us in those secret chambers? As we contemplate Tutankhamun's secret vaults, we feel a calm connection across millennia. The Boy King's story is not just about the artifacts in a tomb, but about the enduring human desire to be remembered, to protect what is precious, and to reach beyond death into eternity. Each hidden corner of his burial place is a quiet testament to this longing, a reminder that history is not fixed, but ever unfolding. In the stillness of the tomb, beneath layers of stone and sand, the secret vaults wait patiently. They hold the promise of discovery but also the weight of respect, a sacred space where the past speaks softly, inviting us to listen with care. The mystery of Tutankhamun's secret vaults is a call to wonder, a gentle reminder that beneath the sands of time, stories still sleep, waiting for their moment to awaken and share their ancient truths with the world. Saqqara's Silent Sarcophagus Secrets. Have you ever wondered what silent stories lie hidden beneath the sands of Egypt, waiting patiently to be uncovered? Saqqara, the vast ancient necropolis just outside modern Cairo, holds some of the oldest and most mysterious secrets of Egypt's past. Among its countless tombs and pyramids, the silent sarcophagi stand like quiet sentinels, guardians of forgotten lives and whispered tales that time has carefully preserved but never fully revealed. What secrets do these silent stone coffins keep, and why do they still capture our deepest curiosity? Saqqara is more than just a burial ground. It is a sprawling city of the dead, a place where Egyptian history unfolds layer by layer. The Step Pyramid of Djoser, one of the world's oldest stone monuments, rises from this desert plain, casting its long shadow over the silent sarcophagi that lie buried beneath and around it. These sarcophagi, often carved from stone and adorned with intricate hieroglyphs and symbols, have held the bodies of nobles, priests, and kings for thousands of years. Yet their silence speaks volumes. What is most striking about the sarcophagi of Saqqara is the mystery they embody. Many remain unopened, their contents hidden from modern eyes by thick stone lids, as if waiting for a moment when we are ready to hear their stories with the respect they deserve. Even those that have been opened often reveal puzzles, unexpected artifacts, unusual mummification techniques, or inscriptions that hint at lost rituals. Each discovery adds another thread to the fabric of ancient Egyptian culture, yet also deepens the enigma. The emotional weight of these silent sarcophagi cannot be overstated. They remind us that behind every stone coffin was a human life, full of hopes, fears, and beliefs about death and the afterlife. The Egyptians believed deeply in immortality, preparing their dead for the journey beyond with care and reverence. The sarcophagi were not just containers, they were sacred vessels, designed to protect the soul and ensure safe passage to the eternal realm. To stand before one is to feel the quiet dignity of a civilization that saw death as a sacred transformation. Throughout centuries, Saqqara's necropolis witnessed the rise and fall of dynasties, yet these silent sarcophagi remained, weathering storms and sandstorms, untouched by time. They carry the echoes of ancient prayers and rituals, whispered by priests who tended the tombs with devotion. Each hieroglyph painted or carved on their surfaces is a message from the past, a prayer for protection or a spell to guide the departed through the underworld's challenges. One cannot help but feel a profound connection to these silent guardians. The sarcophagi link us to a world both distant and intimate, where death was not an end, but a continuation, and where every detail mattered, from the precise angle of a carved line to the choice of materials used. Archaeologists who have worked at Saqqara speak of a humbling experience, as if the sarcophagi themselves watch quietly, urging respect and patience in the search for knowledge. Moreover, the secrets of Saqqara's sarcophagi also reveal the evolution of Egyptian burial customs. Early sarcophagi were simple stone boxes, but over time they became increasingly elaborate, reflecting changes in religious beliefs and social status. Some were painted with vivid scenes of gods and goddesses, while others bore inscriptions detailing the deceased's life and achievements. These details offer historians invaluable insights into how Egyptians viewed identity, legacy, and the afterlife. Yet, even with all we have learned, many questions remain unanswered. Why were some sarcophagi hidden deep underground, in chambers not immediately accessible? What treasures might still be concealed, waiting for the right moment to emerge from their dusty silence? And what stories of ordinary people, those who did not have royal tombs, might still lie buried, their lives lost to history, but their souls quietly waiting for us to listen? The quiet mystery of Saqqara's silent sarcophagi is a powerful reminder of history's depth. It teaches us that beneath every surface there is a story, sometimes loud and clear, sometimes whispered softly through the cracks of time. These sarcophagi invite us to slow down, to listen carefully, and to honor the past with a calm reverence that matches their enduring silence. As we gaze upon the ancient stones of Saqqara, we are drawn into a timeless dialogue. The silent sarcophagi, though mute, speak across millennia about life, death, and the eternal hope for peace beyond the grave. Their secrets remain locked, but their presence reminds us that history is alive, waiting patiently to share its silent stories with those who seek to understand not just facts, but the profound human emotions that shaped one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever known. Why pyramid building stopped? Have you ever stood before the majestic pyramids of Egypt and wondered, why did this incredible era of monumental construction come to an end? These towering structures, which once pierced the sky and symbolized eternal power and divine connection, suddenly ceased to rise after centuries of grand ambition. What caused the ancient Egyptians to stop building their iconic pyramids? And what deeper story lies behind this sudden silence in stone? The pyramids were never just tombs. They were statements of faith, power, and cosmic order. For centuries, the pharaohs poured resources, labor, and devotion into these colossal monuments, aiming to secure their journey into the afterlife and their eternal legacy. From the Step Pyramid of Djoser to the Great Pyramid of Khufu, these structures represented the zenith of Egyptian architectural mastery and religious belief. Yet, after the Old Kingdom, the Great Pyramid building tradition gradually faded away, replaced by different styles and priorities. This shift marks not only a change in architectural taste, but echoes profound transformations within Egyptian society itself. One of the most compelling reasons for the end of pyramid construction lies in the collapse of the Old Kingdom, a period marked by political instability, economic challenges, and social upheaval. The pyramid builders depended heavily on a strong, centralized government that could mobilize vast numbers of workers and resources. As the authority of the pharaoh weakened, so did the ability to command such grand projects. Without the unity and stability that had fueled pyramid construction, the vast workforce dispersed, and priorities shifted toward more immediate concerns: defense, governance, and survival. This decline was also tied to shifting religious beliefs. The pyramid, was a symbol of the pharaoh's divine status and his connection to the sun god Ra. However, over time, religious thought evolved. New ideas about the afterlife and the role of the gods emerged, placing less emphasis on grand, permanent tombs and more on rituals and smaller hidden burial sites. The rise of the cult of Osiris, the god of resurrection and the afterlife, changed how Egyptians viewed death and immortality. Instead of monumental stone tombs, the focus moved toward the soul's spiritual journey, which could be aided by prayers, spells, and funerary texts rather than sheer architectural grandeur. There is also a deeply human story behind this change. Pyramid building was an immense burden on the people of Egypt. The farmers, craftsmen, and laborers who gave their sweat and lives to these projects. While often glorified as slaves forced into labor, many workers were skilled and even honored for their roles. Yet the continuous demand for such massive undertakings strained the population, especially during times of drought and famine. The Nile's fluctuations sometimes left the land parched, threatening the very survival of the communities. In these moments, the people's energies naturally turned away from monumental building toward sustaining life itself. The emotional weight of this transition is significant. Imagine the disappointment and uncertainty that must have accompanied the fading of such a proud tradition. The pyramids were more than stone structures. They were the heartbeat of a civilization's identity, its hope for eternal order amidst the chaos of life and death. To stop building them was to confront a changing world, one where old gods and old ways were no longer enough to hold the future in place. Yet the end of pyramid construction did not mean the end of Egypt's grandeur or spiritual richness. It marked a new chapter, one of innovation, adaptation, and resilience. Later dynasties favored rock-cut tombs in the valley, of the kings hidden away from grave robbers and the harsh desert. These tombs, though less monumental in scale, were rich with art and symbolism, reflecting a deepening of religious thought and a more personal approach to death and remembrance. In this quiet ending, there is a powerful message about the impermanence of even the greatest human achievements. The pyramids, though still standing, belong to a past world, a world of divine kings and cosmic dreams. Their silence speaks to the inevitability of change, how civilizations rise and fall, and how the hopes and fears of humanity are woven into every stone laid and every tomb sealed. As we look upon these ancient wonders today, it is humbling to remember that the end of pyramid building was not just a historical event, but a moment filled with human emotions, hope, loss, adaptation, and faith. It invites us to reflect on our own lives and legacies and how we face the changes that time inevitably brings. The story of why pyramid building stopped is not simply about architecture or politics. It is a profound reflection on the human condition itself. It reminds us that beneath the grandeur of stone and sand lies a story of people who dreamed, labored, believed, and ultimately adapted to the shifting tides of history with a quiet strength that still resonates across millennia. Finding Imhotep's lost tomb. What if the tomb of one of the greatest minds in ancient history, the architect, physician, and sage Imhotep, remains hidden beneath the shifting sands of Egypt, waiting silently to be discovered? How could such a towering figure, whose innovation shaped the very foundations of Egyptian civilization, vanish without a trace? The mystery of Imhotep's lost tomb invites us on a journey through time, blending history, legend, and the quiet hope of discovery. Imhotep was no ordinary man. Living nearly 4,700 years ago during the Third Dynasty, he was the chief architect behind the Step Pyramid of Djoser, the very first monumental stone structure in history. But his talents went far beyond architecture. Imhotep was also a revered physician, often considered the father of ancient Egyptian medicine. His wisdom earned him a status beyond that of mere mortal, eventually becoming deified by later generations as a god of wisdom and healing. Despite his immense influence, Imhotep's final resting place remains a secret lost to time. Unlike the grand tombs of pharaohs, which have been uncovered with their treasures and inscriptions, Imhotep's tomb has never been positively identified. This absence is puzzling, especially given his elevated status, both in life and after death. Where could the resting place of this extraordinary figure be? And why has it remained hidden, unclaimed by history? The search for Imhotep's tomb is steeped in historical emotion, reflecting the passage of time, the fading of memories, and the relentless power of nature. Over thousands of years, the Nile's flooding, desert winds, and human activity have reshaped Egypt's landscape. Many ancient sites were swallowed by sand or buried under newer constructions. It is possible that Imhotep's tomb lies beneath layers of earth, waiting patiently for modern eyes to rediscover it. What makes the mystery even more poignant is the nature of Imhotep's legacy. Unlike the pharaohs, whose tombs were ostentatious and filled with gold, Imhotep's greatness was intellectual and spiritual. His contributions shaped Egyptian culture for centuries, yet his personal story is elusive, almost like a whisper lost in the roar of history. His tomb might not be an extravagant palace, but a humble place, reflecting the wisdom that true greatness sometimes resides in simplicity. The possibility that Imhotep's tomb still exists fuels the imaginations of archaeologists and historians. Every excavation in Saqqara, the necropolis where the step pyramid stands, brings new hopes and sometimes new clues. Ancient texts, inscriptions, and artifacts occasionally hint at his life and work, but none have yet confirmed the location of his burial. This ongoing quest connects us to the human desire to uncover the past, to honor those who shaped civilization, and to find continuity between our world and theirs. The emotional resonance of this search runs deep. Imagine the quiet awe of standing in the desert, knowing you might be close to uncovering the final resting place of a man who transformed the way humanity builds, heals, and understands the world. It is a reminder of how history is not static but a living story, waiting for patience and respect to reveal its secrets. In many ways, the lost tomb of Imhotep symbolizes the fragile nature of memory and the enduring spirit of discovery. It challenges us to consider what we leave behind and how future generations might seek to understand us. As we imagine the moment when his tomb might finally be found, we feel a profound connection, not only to ancient Egypt, but to the timeless quest for knowledge, meaning, and legacy. The story of Imhotep's lost tomb is not just an archaeological mystery, it is a meditation on the passage of time, the power of human achievement, and the silent, enduring hope that even the greatest secrets can one day be brought back to light. It invites us to listen closely to the echoes of history and to appreciate the quiet stories that shape our understanding of the past and, perhaps, our own future. Akhenaten's mysterious exit. What happens when a king challenges everything his people believe in, only to vanish from history as if erased by time itself? The story of Akhenaten's mysterious exit is not just the tale of a ruler's downfall. It is a haunting journey into the shadows of one of ancient Egypt's most radical and controversial figures. How did a pharaoh who dared to reshape religion, art, and power disappear so completely, leaving behind whispers, questions, and unresolved mysteries? Akhenaten, once known as Amenhotep IV, was unlike any other Egyptian ruler before him. Around 1353 BCE, he boldly upended the traditional polytheistic worship that had defined Egypt for centuries. Instead, he introduced what some call the world's first recorded form of monotheism, the exclusive worship of Aten, the sun disk. This seismic religious shift rippled through every corner of Egyptian society. Temples to many gods were abandoned or destroyed, priests lost their status, and the pharaoh's new city, Akhetaten, modern-day Amarna, rose like a shimmering beacon in the desert, dedicated solely to the Aten. But this transformation came at a cost. Akhenaten's reforms created enemies among the powerful priesthood, alienated much of the population, and destabilized the political balance that had held Egypt together for centuries. After his reign, the world seemed to reject everything he had built. The city of Akhetaten was abandoned, his monuments defaced, and his name almost wiped from official records. a practice known as damnatio memoriae, the condemnation of memory. Yet, what truly fascinates historians and dreamers alike is the mysterious exit of Akhenaten himself. Unlike many pharaohs who were buried in elaborate tombs in the Valley of the Kings or other sacred necropolises, Akhenaten's final resting place remains uncertain. His tomb, if found, could reveal secrets about his reign and the turbulent times that followed. But despite decades of archaeological efforts, his burial site eludes us, swallowed by the sands or hidden beneath layers of history. The question lingers: did Akhenaten die peacefully, or was his fall violent and tragic? Was he buried in secrecy, to protect his memory, or cast aside because his reign was seen as a dangerous heresy? Some theories suggest he might have been buried in the royal tomb at Amarna, but the lack of clear evidence has fueled countless speculations. Others propose that political upheaval after his death erased or concealed his burial to prevent the resurgence of his controversial ideas. This mystery holds a deep emotional resonance. Akhenaten's story is one of radical hope and profound isolation of a visionary who tried to change the course of history but was ultimately rejected by it. The silence surrounding his final days echoes the silence forced upon his legacy for centuries. It is a reminder of how power can be fleeting, how revolutions can be buried alongside their leaders, and how history often remembers not just what happened, but what was forgotten. Imagine the desert winds brushing over a forgotten tomb, carrying with them the echoes of a pharaoh who dared to defy tradition. His mysterious exit is more than a historical puzzle. It is a meditation on the costs of change and the fragile nature of memory. It challenges us to reflect on how society deals with those who challenge its foundations, whether through reverence, rejection, or erasure. As we slowly piece together the fragments of Akhenaten's life and disappearance, we feel a connection to the eternal human struggle between innovation and tradition, between power and vulnerability. His story invites us to listen closely to the whispers of history, to honor those who dared to dream differently, and to accept that some mysteries, like the desert itself, may keep their secrets just a little longer. Akhenaten's mysterious exit is a timeless tale of transformation, loss, and the delicate threads that connect past to present. It reminds us that history is not only about kings and monuments, but about the silent spaces in between, where meaning waits patiently to be discovered. Amenhotep I's hidden necropolis. What if one of ancient Egypt's most revered pharaohs rested in a secret tomb, hidden from time, untouched by grave robbers, and veiled in mystery for thousands of years? The story of Amenhotep I's hidden necropolis is a captivating journey into the quiet, shadowed corners of Egyptian history, where silence guards secrets and every stone whispers a story of lost glory and timeless reverence. Amenhotep IV, the second king of Egypt's 18th dynasty, ruled around 1525 to 1504 BCE. He was more than just a pharaoh. He was a builder, a warrior, and a symbol of renewal after the turbulent times of the Hyksos occupation. His reign marked the consolidation of power and the restoration of Egypt's greatness. But what sets Amenhotep I apart is not just his accomplishments during life, but the mystery surrounding his final resting place, the necropolis that holds his mortal remains. For centuries, archaeologists and Egyptologists have searched tirelessly for Amenhotep I's tomb. Unlike other famous pharaohs whose resting places have been uncovered, Amenhotep's burial site remained elusive, hidden beneath the layers of the sprawling Theban necropolis, a vast cemetery on the west bank of the Nile. The silence around his tomb gave rise to legends and speculations. Was his tomb deliberately concealed to protect it from robbers? Did it hold untold treasures or sacred texts that could rewrite history? The discovery of the hidden necropolis linked to Amenhotep came as one of the most remarkable archaeological revelations. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, tomb robbers had long plundered many royal burials. But beneath the sands, deep within the Valley of the Kings, teams of archaeologists uncovered hidden chambers and intricate passageways suggesting that some tombs had been carefully concealed by those who came after Amenhotep, perhaps as a protective measure. The hidden necropolis was not just a resting place, it was a symbol of reverence and spiritual continuity. Amenhotep III's mortuary complex featured chapels, shrines, and statues that reflected the pharaoh's divine status and his connection to the gods. Ancient Egyptians believed that the afterlife was a continuation of life on earth, and the care taken to hide his tomb signaled the deep respect and protection accorded to him. This story stirs a profound historical emotion because it speaks to the human desire to preserve legacy against the erosion of time. Amenhotep I's hidden necropolis is more than stone and dust. It is a sanctuary of memory where ancient rituals whispered prayers for eternity. The secrecy of the tomb, whether intended by the pharaoh himself or by his successors, tells a story of vulnerability and resilience. It reminds us that even the most powerful kings feared the oblivion of history and sought to guard their journey into the afterlife. Imagine walking quietly through the cool shadows of the Theban hills, the air thick with centuries of untold stories. Each step might echo with the silent footsteps of priests and caretakers who tended Amenhotep's tomb long ago, ensuring the sanctity of his resting place. Their devotion bridges a gap of over 3 millennia, connecting us to a world where kings were gods and death was just the beginning. The mystery of Amenhotep's hidden necropolis invites us to ponder not only ancient Egyptian burial practices, but also the fragile line between memory and forgetfulness. What does it mean to be remembered? How do stories survive when physical traces vanish beneath the sands? Amenhotep's tomb challenges us to seek beyond what is visible, to listen to the quiet voices of history, and to honor the past's silent guardians. In the calm stillness of the desert, Amenhotep's hidden necropolis remains a testament to the enduring power of faith, legacy, and human ingenuity. It reminds us that beneath the harsh sun and shifting dunes lies a deep well of stories waiting patiently to be uncovered, stories that speak not just of kings and temples, but of our shared human quest to find meaning and permanence in an ever-changing world. This tale is a gentle invitation to travel through time with care, to respect the mysteries buried beneath the earth, and to appreciate the sacred spaces that connect us to those who walked before us, whose lives shaped the echoes of eternity. Egypt's buried labyrinth revealed. What if beneath the sun-soaked sands of Egypt lay a vast, mysterious labyrinth, an architectural marvel so immense and intricate that it challenged everything we thought we knew about ancient Egyptian engineering and sacred spaces? Imagine a place so secret, so hidden, that it remained buried and forgotten for thousands of years, only to be rediscovered in modern times. This is the story of Egypt's buried labyrinth, a monument lost in time and now slowly revealing its silent secrets. The labyrinth, often called the Egyptian labyrinth, was first described by ancient historians like Herodotus, who spoke in awe about a sprawling complex near the ancient city of Hawara in the Fayum region. According to accounts, this labyrinth was not just a mere maze, but an enormous structure of temples, corridors, and chambers, said to rival even the Great Pyramids in scale and significance. Herodotus described it as containing 3,000 rooms, half above ground and half underground, filled with carvings, statues, and sacred spaces for rituals and burial. For centuries, these descriptions were dismissed by many as exaggerations or myths. Yet the possibility of such a marvel lingering beneath the earth captured the imagination of explorers, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. What was its purpose? Who built it, and why? The labyrinth was said to be the final resting place of a powerful king, Amenemhat III, a ruler of Egypt's 12th dynasty during the Middle Kingdom, an era of incredible advancement in art, architecture, and administration. The labyrinth was believed to be both a tomb and a temple complex, a sacred place designed to protect the king's spirit while symbolizing the complex journey of life, death, and rebirth. In the early 20th century, the buried labyrinth's ruins were rediscovered by archaeologist Flinders Petrie. His excavations revealed foundations and walls, hinting at the grandeur that Herodotus had once described. Though much of the structure was shattered or buried under millennia of sand and debris, the fragments told a story of immense craftsmanship and spiritual depth. The labyrinth was not just stone and mortar, it was a testament to an ancient civilization's devotion to their kings, their gods, and the afterlife. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth story, there is a profound emotional layer. This was a place where ancient Egyptians poured their faith, artistry, and hopes. The corridors and chambers weren't just physical spaces, but metaphors for the complex path of existence itself. Every carved hieroglyph and statue reflected beliefs about protection, transition, and immortality. The labyrinth symbolized the human journey, a winding path that must be navigated with wisdom and reverence. The buried labyrinth also stirs a quiet sadness. Much of it lies lost beneath the desert, broken by time, robbed by tomb seekers, and obscured by nature's relentless sands. Yet, it also stands as a reminder of what endures, human creativity and faith etched into stone, waiting patiently to be rediscovered. It calls us to respect history's mysteries, to tread gently, and to listen closely to the stories that ancient ruins whisper. In the calm of the desert twilight, the labyrinth's stones hold memories of a world long vanished, yet never forgotten. The echoes of priests, artisans, and kings linger in the silent air, urging us to consider the vastness of history and the fragile beauty of legacy. Egypt's buried labyrinth is more than an archaeological wonder. It is a symbol of human resilience, the power of faith, and the endless quest for meaning beyond the visible. This tale invites you to imagine wandering those ancient halls, feeling the weight of centuries in every step, and understanding that some mysteries are meant not just to be solved but to be felt deeply in the heart. The labyrinth, once hidden, now calls across time, offering a quiet connection between the past and present, a reminder that beneath every grain of sand lies a story waiting patiently to be told. Enigma beneath the Sphinx's paw. Have you ever wondered what secrets might be hidden just beneath one of the world's most iconic monuments, the Great Sphinx of Giza? Imagine standing before the towering limestone figure, its majestic lions, body and human head gazing timelessly over the desert sands. But what if beneath its massive paw lay mysteries that have puzzled explorers and scholars for centuries? What stories might the earth hold, just out of sight, waiting patiently to be uncovered? The Great Sphinx, one of Egypt's most enigmatic and enduring symbols, has captured the imagination of countless generations. Carved from a single ridge of limestone over 4,500 years ago, it stands as a guardian of the Giza Plateau, watching silently over the pyramids that rise nearby. But despite its fame, the Sphinx guards its own secrets, especially beneath its enormous paws where shadows of mystery linger. Historical records and ancient texts hint at hidden chambers, tunnels, or vaults beneath the Sphinx, yet the details remain frustratingly vague. Some early explorers believed that beneath the paws lay entrances to secret burial chambers or archives containing forgotten knowledge. Over the decades, numerous archaeological investigations, ground-penetrating radar, scans, and even treasure hunts have attempted to reveal these hidden depths. Yet, the enigma remains largely intact, stirring curiosity and wonder. Why would such a monumental sculpture conceal secrets beneath its paws? Some scholars suggest that beneath the paws, a sacred space may have existed, perhaps a symbolic gateway, linking the earthly realm with the divine. In Egyptian culture, the lion represented power and protection, while the human head symbolized wisdom. Together, the Sphinx's form embodied the unity of strength and intelligence. Its paws, then, might have held not only physical weight but spiritual significance, a foundation protecting something precious and sacred beneath. The story of the Sphinx's hidden enigma also resonates with a deep emotional current. It connects us with the ancient Egyptians' reverence for the mysteries of life and death, their devotion to gods and kings, and their belief in a cosmos filled with layers beyond what eyes can see. The notion of secret chambers beneath the Sphinx sparks a powerful human urge to uncover what lies hidden, to connect with the past, and to understand the unknown. Yet, the enigma beneath the paw also speaks to the passage of time and the fragility of history. Over millennia, the desert's relentless winds and shifting sands have buried, eroded, and obscured much of what once was. Human curiosity has sometimes brought damage along with discovery. The story of the Sphinx's hidden secrets is a reminder of the delicate balance between exploration and preservation, between unveiling history and respecting its mysteries. Standing quietly before the Sphinx, one can almost feel the weight of centuries pressing down, a silent call to patience and reverence. The enigma beneath its paw reminds us that not all secrets are meant to be hurriedly unraveled. Some must be approached with calm, with care, and with an openness to wonder. As the sun sets over the Giza Plateau, casting long shadows across the desert, the great Sphinx keeps its watch. Beneath its paw, perhaps, lies a whisper from the past, a silent echo waiting for the right moment, or the right seeker, to reveal its tale. This mystery invites us not just to search for answers, but to embrace the beauty of the unknown and the timeless connection we share with those who built these wonders so long ago. In this quiet reflection, we find something deeply human, a longing to understand, to connect, and to honor the vast tapestry of history that continues to unfold. Beneath the sands, the enigma beneath the Sphinx's paw remains a gentle reminder that some mysteries endure not just to be solved, but to inspire awe and respect for the silent stories hidden beneath the surface of time. Ichitawi, Egypt's forgotten capital. Have you ever heard of a city so important in its time, yet so thoroughly lost to history, that even its exact location remains a mystery today? Imagine a bustling capital, alive with the rhythm of life, politics, and culture, but erased from the map, buried beneath centuries of sand and silence. This is the story of Ichitawi, Egypt's forgotten capital, a city once at the heart of an empire, now veiled in mystery and waiting patiently to be remembered. Ichitawi rose to prominence during the Middle Kingdom of ancient Egypt, around 2000 BCE, as the new political center of power. It was here that the 12th dynasty pharaohs chose to establish their court, shifting the center of Egyptian civilization from the north to the region near the Fayum oasis. The name Ichitawi means Caesar of the two lands, a bold declaration of authority and unification, a promise of order and stability during a time of transition. But despite its significance, the city itself slipped into obscurity, swallowed by time. What makes Ichitawi's story so captivating is not just the fact that it was lost, but the reasons why it vanished from memory. Unlike the majestic pyramids of Giza or the grand temples of Karnak, Ichitawi left behind no monumental ruins easily identifiable by modern archaeologists. It was a living city, full of daily life, trade, and government, yet it disappeared almost completely from the archaeological record. Its streets, palaces, and temples remain hidden beneath the shifting sands, their secrets waiting to be revealed. This forgotten capital represents more than just a place. It embodies the fragile nature of history and the fleeting legacy of human achievement. As we try to piece together the story of Ichitawi, we connect with the hopes and dreams of the people who lived there. We imagine the pharaohs walking its streets, the scribes recording laws, the artisans crafting their wares, and the families going about their daily lives, all part of a thriving city that once held the key to Egypt's future. The emotional weight of Ichitawi's story lies in its disappearance, reminding us that even the greatest civilizations can be vulnerable to the relentless passage of time. The city was abandoned, possibly due to political changes, shifting trade routes, or natural environmental shifts. Over centuries, the Nile's course changed, and with it the fortunes of the city faded. Nature reclaimed the land, and human memory gradually dimmed, leaving behind a puzzle for future generations to solve. Archaeologists and historians have long searched for the exact site of Ichitawi, following clues from ancient texts and inscriptions. Recent discoveries have brought them closer, but the city's full extent remains elusive. Every fragment of pottery, every ruined wall unearthed, is a whisper from the past, a delicate thread connecting us to a forgotten chapter of Egypt's long story. In this quiet pursuit, there is a profound sense of respect and wonder. Ichtawi teaches us about the impermanence of power and the enduring mystery of history. It invites us to pause and reflect on how civilizations rise and fall, and how their echoes shape our understanding of the present. As we imagine the sun setting over the lost streets of Ichtawi, we are reminded that some stories are not just about what we can see, but what we can imagine. The city's silence invites us to listen closely, to the whispers of history, to the voices of those long gone, and to the timeless human journey of discovery and remembrance. In this shared reflection, Ichtawi lives again, not just as a place on a map, but as a symbol of the mysteries buried beneath the sands, waiting for us to uncover their truths with patience, care, and a calm heart. Who really built Giza's pyramids? Have you ever paused to wonder who truly built the Great Pyramids of Giza? Were they the work of slaves toiling under harsh conditions, or could there be a deeper story hidden beneath the layers of stone and history? The pyramids stand today as silent giants, inviting us to question not only how they were built, but by whom and why. This question has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and dreamers alike for centuries. The Great Pyramids, especially the Pyramid of Khufu, often called the Great Pyramid, are among the most astonishing architectural feats in human history. Rising majestically on the desert plateau near Cairo, they have witnessed thousands of years pass, surviving floods, invasions, and the relentless sands of time. But behind their grandeur lies a mystery as profound as the desert itself: the identity and story of the people who built them. For a long time, the common belief was that these pyramids were constructed by slave labor. Thousands of people, chained and forced to build tombs for the pharaohs, symbols of divine power. This narrative paints a picture of suffering and oppression, a story of human endurance under cruelty. Yet, modern research has revealed a more complex and fascinating truth. Excavations near the pyramids uncovered workers' villages, tombs, and tools, suggesting that those who built the pyramids were not slaves, but skilled laborers, craftsmen, engineers, and laborers who worked in organized teams and were well cared for. Evidence points to a workforce that took pride in their work, a community supported by food, shelter, and medical care, reflecting a society that valued their contribution to this monumental project. This discovery invites us to rethink the human story behind the pyramids. Instead of a tale of forced labor, it becomes a story of collective effort, expertise, and devotion. The builders were part of a vast system where every stone placed was an act of faith and skill, where families supported the workers, and where the pharaoh's vision united people toward a common goal. Yet beyond the workers themselves, the pyramids tell a story of ancient Egyptian society, of religion, politics, and the belief in the afterlife. The pyramids were not just tombs. They were gateways to eternity, meant to ensure the pharaoh's safe passage to the divine world. The immense effort poured into their construction reflects the deep spiritual and cultural significance the Egyptians placed on death and rebirth. As we stand in awe of the pyramids today, there is a silent respect owed to those ancient builders, not anonymous slaves, but skilled hands and dedicated hearts who shaped history with each stone. Their story is etched not only in the limestone blocks, but in the spirit of human achievement, perseverance, and faith. In this calm reflection, the pyramids transform from cold monuments of stone to living testaments of human creativity and cooperation. They invite us to connect with the past, to honor the lives of those who made the impossible possible, and to marvel at the mysteries that still lie beneath their shadows. So next time you gaze at the towering pyramids of Giza, remember the true builders, not just pharaohs or slaves, but a community united by purpose and vision, whose legacy continues to inspire wonder and humility across millennia. Obelisks, ancient engineering marvel. Have you ever stopped to wonder how ancient Egyptians managed to carve, transport, and erect massive stone monuments, some towering over 20 meters high, without the modern machinery we rely on today? What Secrets did they hold to create these marvels that still stand tall thousands of years later? The obelisks, slender and majestic, are not just symbols of power and religion. They are breathtaking feats of ancient engineering, a testament to human ingenuity that continues to inspire awe. These towering monoliths, often crafted from a single piece of red granite quarried in Aswan, were carved with painstaking precision. Imagine the sheer patience and skill it took to chisel and polish a stone weighing hundreds of tons, shaping it into a tapering pillar crowned with a pyramidion, the symbolic representation of the sun's rays. Every angle, every curve, and every inscription was deliberate, embodying the Egyptians' reverence for the sun god Ra and their desire to bridge the earth with the divine. But the real mystery lies not just in carving the obelisks, but in how these colossal stones were moved and erected. For centuries, scholars and engineers have marveled at the fact that ancient Egyptians, without cranes or engines, managed to transport these massive monuments across the Nile and position them upright with extraordinary precision. It's a story of communal effort, innovation, and a deep understanding of physics long before it was formally recorded. To move an obelisk from the quarries to its final resting place, the Egyptians developed ingenious techniques. Large wooden sleds, lubricated with water or oils, slid the heavy stones over prepared paths of mud and sand. Teams of workers coordinated their strength, using ropes, rollers, and ramps to gradually inch the obelisk forward. The Nile River played a vital role, serving as a natural highway that allowed the stones to be floated on barges, sometimes hundreds of kilometers, to grand temples and plazas. Raising the obelisks was an equally daunting challenge. The Egyptians constructed massive earthen ramps and used counterweights, levers, and ropes in a carefully choreographed process. Slowly, the obelisk was pivoted from a horizontal resting position into a vertical monument, symbolically raising the sun itself. This act was more than a feat of engineering. It was a sacred ritual, a physical manifestation of divine power and cosmic order. Beyond their technical marvel, obelisks held deep spiritual significance. Standing guard at temple entrances, they were believed to harness the sun's energy, connecting the earthly realm to the heavens. The inscriptions etched into their surfaces told stories of kings and gods, victories and prayers, preserving history in stone for eternity. They were beacons of light and faith, standing witness to an ancient civilization's dreams and beliefs. Today, many obelisks have traveled far from their Egyptian origins, gracing cities like Rome, Paris, London, and New York. Their journeys add another layer of mystery and wonder, showing how these ancient engineering marvels continue to captivate human imagination across time and space. As you reflect on the towering obelisks, consider the hands and minds behind their creation. They remind us that human creativity, when combined with faith and perseverance, can transform the impossible into enduring monuments. The story of these obelisks is not only about stone and technique, but about a timeless connection between humanity and the cosmos, a quiet, powerful echo from the past that still resonates today. Secrets beneath the Sphinx. Have you ever wondered what ancient mysteries lie hidden beneath the majestic Sphinx of Giza, one of the oldest and most enigmatic monuments on Earth? Beneath its calm, stone gaze, does the Sphinx guard secrets lost to time, waiting patiently for curious souls to uncover them? This colossal guardian, with the body of a lion and the head of a man, has silently witnessed thousands of years of history, yet beneath its surface, whispers of forgotten chambers and hidden knowledge persist. The Great Sphinx stands at the heart of Egypt's Giza Plateau, a monument carved from a single limestone ridge that has fascinated explorers, historians, and dreamers alike. Its very construction is a marvel, but what captures the imagination most is what lies beneath, the unseen depths, shrouded in mystery, that may hold clues to ancient civilizations and their lost wisdom. For centuries, archaeologists and researchers have speculated about secret chambers beneath the Sphinx. Some believe these hidden spaces could contain scrolls, treasures, or artifacts that illuminate Egypt's earliest history. Others suggest that these chambers were meant to serve as sacred vaults, connecting the earthly realm to the divine, a spiritual gateway guarded by the powerful image of the lion-headed god. The search for these secrets has been a slow, careful process. Unlike pyramids, which have well-mapped internal passages, the Sphinx is a solid mass with subtle, sometimes invisible cavities. Ground-penetrating radar and other modern technologies have hinted at voids and tunnels underneath the monument, but none have been fully explored or understood. This ongoing mystery pulls us into a deeper reflection on what knowledge was once valued and hidden from the outside world. Historically, the Sphinx is tied to the reign of Pharaoh Khafra, yet its origins may be even older, dating back to a forgotten epoch of Egyptian civilization. The lion's body symbolizes strength and protection, while the human face represents wisdom. Together, they embody a fusion of physical power and intellectual spirit watching over the sands of time. The emotional weight of the Sphinx's secrets is profound. Imagine the generations of priests, kings, and common folk who revered this monument as more than stone, a living symbol of eternity. They passed down rituals, stories, and reverence, believing the Sphinx held the power to guard not only the physical realm but also the soul's journey after death. Even now, standing before the Sphinx under the vast Egyptian sky, one feels a quiet connection to the past, an invitation to ponder mysteries beyond our reach but deeply embedded in human history. The secrets beneath the Sphinx remind us that some truths are layered, waiting to be discovered with patience and respect, blending science and spirituality in the sands of Egypt. So, what truly lies beneath the Sphinx? Perhaps one day, with gentle exploration and reverent curiosity, the ancient guardian will reveal its hidden heart, a story carved not only in stone but in the timeless spirit of a civilization that continues to inspire wonder. Until then, the Sphinx keeps its secrets silently, a calm sentinel watching over the dreams of the ages, last vaults of the valley. What if the greatest secrets of ancient Egypt were never meant to be found? What if the last vaults hidden deep within the Valley of the Kings still hold the final whispers of a civilization long gone, quietly guarding stories we are only beginning to understand? The Valley of the Kings, a sacred burial ground for pharaohs and nobles, is often seen as the ultimate resting place for those who ruled Egypt's destiny. But beyond the known tombs lies a lingering mystery, the last vaults that have resisted discovery for centuries, hiding treasures and truths beneath the desert sands. Walking through the valley today, it's easy to feel the weight of history pressing softly against your spirit. The air is thick with silence, broken only by the faint rustling of wind across limestone cliffs that have witnessed millennia of change. Each tomb carved into these rocky walls tells a story of grandeur, devotion, and a deeply held belief in life beyond death. Yet, despite centuries of excavation, there remains a sense that some chambers remain untouched, sealed off by time, by intention, and perhaps by fear. These last vaults are not just physical spaces, they are portals to a world that balanced life and death, the earthly and the divine, with profound reverence. Pharaohs were not simply rulers, they were considered gods walking among men, and their tombs were designed to secure their passage into eternity. The hidden vaults, if found, might reveal rituals, artifacts, or even truths that could change our understanding of ancient Egyptian culture and spirituality forever. The emotional resonance of these vaults is powerful. Think about the craftsmen and priests who labored in secrecy, hiding precious relics and sacred texts behind walls thick with stone and magic. Their hope was that these final resting places would protect their kings' souls, ensuring their rebirth and safeguarding Egypt's future. Every step into the valley is a step into a past, where human hopes and fears were carved in stone, where death was but a doorway to something greater. Modern technology has given us glimpses into these hidden chambers. Ground-penetrating radar, 3D imaging, and careful archaeological surveys suggest there may be empty spaces yet to be explored. Yet the question remains, should we disturb what was meant to be left alone? The delicate balance between discovery and respect echoes through every whispered theory, every cautious expedition. The last vaults of the valley remind us of the fragility of memory and how history, no matter how deeply buried, can speak across time. They teach us to listen quietly, with humility, to the stories etched in rock and shadow, to honor the mystery and the silence as much as the revelations. As we imagine these hidden chambers, filled perhaps with treasures glittering beneath the dust or sacred scrolls resting undisturbed, we are invited into a moment of reflection. What does it mean to preserve history? What wisdom might these last vaults hold for us today? Perhaps the greatest treasure is not gold or jewels, but the enduring connection between us and the souls who sought to transcend time itself. So the valley's last vaults remain, patiently waiting, silent sentinels guarding ancient secrets, calling us to look beyond the surface, to find meaning in the stillness, and to honor the mysteries that shape our shared human story. Unlocking Egypt's sunken manuscripts. Have you ever wondered what ancient secrets might lie hidden beneath the waters, waiting patiently for us to uncover them? What if the stories of Egypt, its wisdom, beliefs, and forgotten histories were not only carved in stone, but also written on fragile manuscripts submerged in the silent depths, lost to time and tides? These sunken manuscripts are among the most mysterious treasures of Egyptian heritage, locked away in watery graves, whispering tales from a civilization that once thrived along the Nile. Imagine a time when the Nile was not just a river, but the lifeblood of a great empire. Egypt's wealth, culture, and knowledge flowed along its banks, carried by papyrus scrolls inscribed by learned scribes. These manuscripts held sacred texts, medical knowledge, rituals, and philosophies, words meant to guide and protect generations. Yet, many of these invaluable documents have been lost to floods, natural disasters, and the shifting course of the river itself. The thought that such priceless knowledge now rests silently beneath the water's surface fills the heart with a quiet longing. What might these manuscripts reveal? Could they reshape what we know about Egyptian history, or unlock deeper understanding of their beliefs about life, death, and the cosmos? The idea alone invites us to reflect on how fragile human knowledge truly is, and how time's passage can transform vibrant civilizations into echoes beneath the waves. Historians and archaeologists have long been fascinated by the possibility of these submerged libraries. Modern technology, such as underwater robotics, sonar mapping, and specialized diving techniques, has opened a new chapter in exploration. Each discovery of a sunken manuscript or artifact brings us closer to hearing the voices of the past, soft and fragile, but undeniably profound. Yet this exploration requires patience and reverence. The manuscripts, delicate and waterlogged, demand care and respect, reminding us that history is a living connection, fragile but enduring. The emotional weight of these sunken manuscripts is profound. They were once held by hands eager to preserve the wisdom of their age, only to be swallowed by time and water. To unlock them is to touch the soul of a people who lived in harmony with the river, who believed that knowledge was a sacred gift passed from generation to generation. It is to honor their faith that these words would survive beyond death, illuminating the path for those yet to come. As we think about unlocking these manuscripts, we are also invited to consider the balance between discovery and preservation. Every dive into the depths is a delicate dance with history itself, a moment when past and present meet in silent dialogue. It reminds us of the responsibility we carry to safeguard these treasures, to listen with humility, and to let their stories flow into our understanding gently and fully. The sunken manuscripts of Egypt are not just relics. They are bridges across time, connecting us to a world that once flourished under the desert sun and along the mighty Nile. They teach us that history is never truly lost, but sometimes waits patiently beneath the surface, ready to be discovered by those who seek with respect and wonder. So as we imagine these ancient scrolls resting beneath shimmering waters, we are called to cherish the fragile beauty of human knowledge and the timeless connection that binds us to the past. Unlocking Egypt's sunken manuscripts is more than an archaeological quest. It is a journey into the heart of history, where silence speaks and mysteries awaken. Giza's subterranean map that shouldn't exist. What if everything we thought we knew about the Giza pyramids was only the surface? Imagine finding a map, not just of roads or monuments, but of a vast world hidden underneath one of the most studied places on Earth. A place so old, so intentionally concealed that it feels like it was never meant to be found. And yet, someone did. Have you ever looked at something familiar? A photo, a childhood place, even your own handwriting, and noticed something strange you never saw before? That eerie feeling, as if something was hiding in plain sight all along. That's what many explorers felt when they first heard rumors of an ancient map, a forgotten blueprint buried in silence, tracing tunnels beneath the Giza Plateau. Let me ask you something. Do you believe everything built thousands of years ago was only for the living? Or were some structures made for the dead, and some for something else entirely? If you're watching from anywhere near Egypt, or even from a place with ancient ruins, drop a comment. Let's build a global circle of curious minds who still wonder, what else is hiding beneath our feet? Now gently settle in. This will be a calm, slow descent, like stepping down into a world not made for sunlight. The first whispers of a hidden map beneath Giza came from unexpected places, not from modern archaeologists, but from fragments, pieces of broken stone, scattered carvings, and half-erased records that made strange suggestions. That beneath the sand and rock, there was something more, something mapped with symbols that didn't match anything seen above ground. Some claim these symbols pointed to rooms and tunnels no modern radar had detected. Others insisted they were nothing, just myths. But as scanning technology quietly improved, those whispers began turning into shadows. Long straight corridors, hollow spaces, intersections too perfect to be accidents. And then came the real puzzle. This map had details that lined up with structures already found, but only discovered in recent years. Whoever made the map knew more about the underground world than we do today. That's when the questions began to pile up. Who made this map? And why would they go to such lengths to hide it? Imagine you're a builder. You stack bricks to make a wall, but if you build deep below, through stone, across layers of time, why? For whom? Not the common people, not even for kings. Maybe for something older, or something not entirely human. Some researchers began calling it the Forbidden Blueprint, not because it was dangerous, but because no one could prove it. It was as if the Earth itself conspired to keep its contents silent. Scans would glitch, permits would be delayed, sandstorms would arrive out of season. Everything, subtly, always in the way, and yet pieces kept surfacing. A passage half dug revealed a sealed stone. Not just any seal, but a slab with markings that mirrored part of the map. The alignment was too exact. The carving, too precise. Let's pause for a moment. What would it feel like to stand on soft ground, knowing that below you might lie a forgotten city? No lights, no sound, just darkness, waiting patiently for thousands of years. Some say parts of the map point to a structure larger than the Great Pyramid itself, but underground. A central chamber surrounded by rings. Not circular rings like water ripples, but something more like a gear, a mechanical layout. That alone sparked new theories. Could this map be evidence of ancient technology? It's a hard question, but when you start seeing the same shapes repeated, in tombs, temples, and even artifacts, your mind begins to ask things it never dared to before. Like, were the pyramids just markers? Signposts to something deeper? Were the above-ground wonders simply distractions? One of the most chilling pieces of this mystery involves an old, almost forgotten report. Written in the early 1900s by a quiet researcher, it described an encounter with a local who spoke of a map of the gods buried near the plateau. The man spoke of a curse, not one of death, but of forgetting, as if those who got too close would simply lose their way, or even lose the will to search. When the researcher returned to the site a year later, that local man was gone. Not moved, not dead, simply erased from all memory. Even the villagers said, "There was never anyone here by that name." Strange, isn't it? Of course, skeptics argue that no such map exists, that if it did, someone would have published it. But what if someone already did, just in pieces? What if the map isn't in a single place, but scattered across tombs, walls, scrolls, waiting to be stitched together like a broken mirror? It makes you wonder how many things in life are like that. How many truths are not buried, but divided. Hidden not by locks, but by confusion. Like the way a dream vanishes the moment you wake. Up, you know it happened, but it's just gone. Maybe that's what this map is. A dream left behind by a civilization too old to speak our language, but clever enough to leave instructions, just not the kind we know how to read. Before we end this descent into mystery, let's reflect. Giza is not just a tourist site, it's not just a landmark, it may be the lid of a buried memory, a message trapped beneath rock and time. And this map, if it's real, could be the only key left that tells us where to look. So if you ever stand near the pyramids, try to listen closely. Not for sound, but for the feeling, the stillness, the breath of stone beneath your feet. Because maybe, just maybe, something ancient is still there, quietly watching, waiting for someone to see the whole picture. If this gave you something new to think about tonight, consider liking this video and subscribing for more. And if you've ever stood somewhere and felt something strange beneath you, drop a comment. Let's find these hidden maps together. The pyramid. That hums. Unheard vibrations. Have you ever felt a sound without actually hearing it? A gentle pressure in your chest. A subtle vibration in the bones of your face. No music playing, no voices calling. But something is there. Now, imagine this feeling, coming from a 4,500-year-old pyramid. Why would a structure made of silent stone, designed long before modern instruments, hum? People have visited the Great Pyramid of Giza for centuries. They've marveled at its size, its mystery, its perfect alignment with the stars. But there's something few people talk about, something you can't photograph or write on a postcard. It's the sound that's not a sound. The hum that isn't heard, but felt. Let's go deeper into this mystery gently. Take a slow breath. Close your eyes if you like, because this is not a tale of noise. It's a story of silence that pulses like a heartbeat beneath the stone. The first documented mention of this strange humming came not from tourists, but from engineers. A group was studying the internal acoustics of the king's chamber using sensitive equipment. The room was empty, no footsteps, no wind. But the instruments picked up a faint frequency, a deep, low vibration, below the threshold of human hearing. They checked their equipment. No fault. They checked again. Same result. And that's when one of them quietly asked, "What's making it hum?" At first, they assumed it was the environment, maybe seismic activity or underground water, but they ran the same tests in nearby areas. No hum, only inside the chamber. Only within the pyramid. Could it be natural resonance? Possibly, but the pitch was oddly specific, not chaotic, not random. It stayed steady, like a low musical note, being held for thousands of years. What's even stranger is that some visitors, those who've spent time meditating or sitting in stillness inside the pyramid, report feeling dizzy or deeply calm. Some say they sense a pressure, like standing near a speaker you can't hear. Others describe visions, not dreams, but images, rising from somewhere deep within. This isn't entirely surprising to scientists who study sound. You see, our bodies don't just hear with ears. Every bone, organ, and cell is sensitive to vibration. This is called somatic resonance. Certain frequencies, especially those between 5 and 20 Hz, are known to affect brain waves, emotions, and even memories. Now imagine this, a massive pyramid aligned to true north, built with chambers of perfect symmetry, carved from stone that carries sound well. Could it be that the pyramid was designed not just as a tomb or monument, but as a resonating instrument? What if its builders weren't only engineers, but acoustic architects? Let's drift gently into a more mysterious possibility. Some theorists suggest the pyramid's shape itself plays a role in amplifying natural vibrations. Earthquakes, cosmic radiation, even the movement of magma deep below the surface, all create low-frequency waves that pass through the planet. The Great Pyramid, sitting directly on solid bedrock, may be capturing these waves like a tuning fork, and when these waves align just right, the pyramid hums. This theory gained traction when similar phenomena were observed in other ancient structures: Mayan temples, Tibetan monasteries, even Stonehenge. All showed unusual resonance at specific frequencies. Coincidence? Or ancient knowledge? The ancient Egyptians had no microphones, no computers, yet they were masters of vibration in their own way. The sistrum, a sacred musical instrument, was believed to clear negative energy using sound. Temples were built with echo points, places where claps or chants would bounce in specific patterns. They understood that sound could shape the mind. So what happens when you stand inside the pyramid and that unheard hum passes through your body? Some say it's healing. Others say it opens something. A few believe it connects you to the earth itself. Skeptics argue it's just background noise, wind tunnels, or mechanical interference from tourism. But when asked to recreate the same hum outside the structure or at other pyramids, the silence is complete. Only this pyramid hums like this. And here's something to truly consider. In the 1990s, a team attempted to seal off the king's chamber completely. No tourists, no lights, no vibrations from footsteps or cameras. The room was silent, dead silent, but the hum remained. So now the question grows louder. Who built this acoustic phenomenon? Was it a coincidence of shape and material? Or was it intentional? Could the ancient builders have known something we've forgotten? Or maybe it was meant to be discovered only when we were ready, when our instruments were sensitive enough to notice, when our minds were open enough to wonder. This story isn't about proving the pyramid hums. It's about how we hum with it. Every cell in your body, every thought in your mind is vibrating. You're not made of silence. You're made of motion. And maybe, just maybe, standing inside that chamber, your inner frequency meets something older, something deeper. And in that quiet moment, you don't hear a sound, but you feel it, like a whisper that passes through your bones and says, "You are not alone." So next time you look at the pyramids, don't just stare at the outside. Think of what pulses beneath. Think of a sound that's not made for ears, but for the soul. And if this left you with more questions than answers, you're not alone. Like this video, subscribe for more calm explorations, and comment below. If you could sit in total stillness inside the king's chamber for 1 hour, what do you think you'd feel? Lost Scrolls of Thoth, Egypt's Forbidden Knowledge. What if there existed a book so powerful it was said to grant the reader mastery over all things: life, death, language, the stars, even the gods themselves? And what if the ancient Egyptians didn't just imagine such a book, but once held it in their hands? Tonight we explore a mystery whispered through temples carved into stone and hidden beneath layers of silence, a secret tied to one name, Thoth. To understand why the lost scrolls of Thoth are so compelling, we first need to step into the mind of ancient Egypt. Not just the culture, but the way they viewed reality itself. For them, the universe was not just physical, it was deeply mental. Every event, every object, every moment had a spiritual counterpart. At the center of this cosmic balance stood Thoth, the ibis-headed deity of wisdom, writing, mathematics, and magic. He wasn't just a god of scribes, he was the mind of the universe, thought itself made divine. According to ancient legends, Thoth didn't just create writing. He wrote a book, not an ordinary one, but a compilation of scrolls containing the secrets of the heavens and the earth. It was called the Book of Thoth, and within it were spells to command the elements, to speak to animals, to raise the dead, and even to see into the future. But here's where it gets strange. The Book of Thoth was said to be so dangerous that it had to be hidden away, sealed inside a series of nested boxes and buried in a secret location, often said to be near the Nile, or deep within a tomb guarded by serpents, spirits, and curses. Why? Because it wasn't meant for human hands. The knowledge inside was considered forbidden, a divine fire that would burn the unworthy. And yet, seekers kept looking for it. Greek historians like Plutarch and Diodorus wrote of Thoth as Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes, a fusion of Greek and Egyptian wisdom. They believed he wrote thousands of books on alchemy, astronomy, and the soul's journey. Many of these were later lost or suppressed, particularly after the rise of monotheistic regimes. Still, stories of the lost scrolls persisted. Even in modern times, archaeologists and fringe researchers alike have searched for physical traces of the book. In the tombs of Saqqara, in the ruins of Hermopolis, in the mysterious Serapeum catacombs where the massive sarcophagi lie untouched, there are symbols, cryptic inscriptions, that some believe point to a hidden cache of ancient writings. But the question remains, did the Book of Thoth ever really exist? And if it did, who hid it, and why? Some believe the scrolls were encoded into temple walls disguised as myth or architecture. Others suggest they were copied and smuggled into secret libraries, like the fabled Library of Alexandria or the White Temple archive said to lie beneath the Sphinx's paw. And here's where things grow more intriguing. In 1904, a British occultist named Aleister Crowley claimed to receive a transmission from a higher being called Aiwass. He described the source as connected to Thoth and published the Book of the Law, a cryptic text full of Egyptian symbolism and hidden meanings. Whether you believe Crowley or not, his obsession with Thoth mirrored something deeper, something timeless, that the knowledge we seek is always just out of reach. Why does this idea persist? Why does the human mind crave the forbidden scroll, the secret book that holds the ultimate truth? Because at the heart of our consciousness lies a hunger, not just for facts, but for meaning. The idea that somewhere there's a deeper order, a master key to unlock the chaos of existence. And in the mythology of Thoth, that key takes the form of sacred writing, scrolls that don't just describe reality but shape it. Some versions of the legend say the scrolls were finally found by a prince named Neferkapta, who used them and paid dearly for it. His family suffered, his soul was cursed, and the scrolls were taken back and hidden again, a cosmic reset, as if the universe itself refused to let humans wield such power. Others say they were taken underground, not into earth but into mind, that the true Book of Thoth was never ink on papyrus, but a hidden layer of consciousness, a kind of spiritual download accessible only to those who reached a certain vibration of thought. And now, in the age of AI, quantum computing, and planetary exploration, we're hearing echoes of those scrolls again. They may not look like ancient parchment anymore. They may appear as code, as dreams, as intuitive flashes of knowing. But the feeling remains the same, that somewhere, someone wrote the universe down, and the writing is still waiting to be read. So what would you do if you found it? Would you read it? Would you dare to understand it? And if the knowledge it offered was too much to bear, would you turn away? These are the questions the legend of Thoth whispers into the night. Not answers, but invitations to wonder, to search, to feel, the subtle pull of a truth too ancient to be named and perhaps too powerful to be owned. If this mystery moved something in you, if it stirred that quiet place inside where curiosity and awe live side by side, leave a comment. What do you think the Book of Thoth truly is? And if you enjoy these calm journeys into the oldest riddles of our world, consider subscribing Because sometimes the greatest truths are the ones we feel but can't explain. Just like the hum of an ancient pyramid, just like the silence between the lines of a scroll, never meant to be read out loud.